doing headbands today?
I got one. Should I bust it out too?
Yeah, maybe we should all, we all have to do headbands. Ben, what's going on?
Hello, man. How are you? You good?
You're just the man I wanted to talk to. Me and Ian were just trying to figure out why I can taste ammonia like for 4 days straight now in my throat. John said it has something to do with low carbs, high protein.
I mean, yeah, normally keto guys get that, right? But
is that what that's from? Because that's what
yeah.
Ian said. It's like a ketone release of some sort.
Yeah, if you've got too many ketone bodies, it will start.
Speak up a bit, Ben.
Yeah. Sorry, I'll move my. Yeah, normally ketone bodies normally cause that, like ammonia. Like you normally smell it on someone that's got hard keto.
Yeah.
Unless they're chewing gum or something, they've got a slight ammonia smell to their breath.
Does that mean I'm in ketosis right now?
Check.
How could I be in ketosis though if I'm eating like 100? I have
Because it's not necessarily, you can be in ketosis and still eat carbs.
Yeah, but that, like, I'm eating about 100. I know that's true, but not like I'm eating about 120 grams of carbs a day, and a lot of ketchup. So, I don't know.
That's not a lot of carbs of what 275 pounds.
Yeah. Well,
get some test strips. I mean, it'd be easy.
That's what. Get
some ketone test strips and just test it.
I have some because when I tried to do the keto diet a long time ago, I have some strips. So I haven't. Maybe I'll bust them out and see.
Yeah, just take a piss on one, see.
Yeah, I'm losing a lot of fucking weight though. I'm down to like 267. I broke the. I was 275 at the beginning of the week, so I've dropped like 7 pounds in like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
Damn.
But I don't feel like I lost any muscle. I mean, I just feel like I keep getting harder, so it's okay.
Yeah.
No.
Ben, are you still stuck?
What, my weight, you mean?
Well, you said you wanted to get under 260 this week.
I was 258.8 this morning, but I might have cut out a lot of food myself the last 3 or 4 days. You know, I'm like, I was weighing it. I'm like, I don't need carbs this meal. So I took all my carbs out of breakfast yesterday and the day before. It was only like 35. It's supposed to be like 50 grams of oats. And I'm like, I feel fine, but I don't feel lean enough. So eat less. Like
Ian, do you ever do that when you're working with a coach? I'm assuming you're going to say no, but do you ever like, I got to push things a little harder for a couple days?
No, I get lean so easily. Like I never feel that way too often. I mean, I've had the odd day where it's like at the end of the day and like say my last meal has like, a tiny bit of carbs in it or something. I'll be like, I don't need that, like a little bit or something, I feel good. Like maybe, if there's 20 grams of carbs in it or something, but I haven't done that in a long, long time now. But I mean, I'll do the odd, like, if I'm biking and I'm watching like a show or something and there's 5 minutes left and I'm done my cardio, I'll do an extra 5 minutes, I'll push that. Or, if I'm playing a game or something on my phone, I'm like, I'll finish this level,
Yeah.
I'll push through that and do an extra 5-10 minutes. But no, I never cut food. Like, especially for me, I know like under eating has such a detrimental effect to my physique. So like I'm honestly too scared to do that now. So
yeah. I think I've been through some. Sorry, go ahead, Ben.
I was gonna say I did run it by Justin. Like Justin knows.
Yeah, John knows. John knows I do that shit too. Yeah.
I texted him yesterday and was like, so because today's a rest day, and I'm like, my rest day has like 3 meals with like 30 grams of carbs in it. I'm like, I'm 4 weeks out. That's what I said to you on the phone. I was like, I'm 4 weeks out. I probably got 5 more rest days in me. I can suck a little harder, I can. Yeah. I'm not suffering, so I'm like, can I just pull all the carbs out? And he said, yeah, go no carbs on your rest days.
And if your weight isn't like skyrocketing downwards, I see nothing against that. I mean, if you were dropping 5 pounds a day, I would be like, maybe go easy. But like if your weight's like, holding pretty steady or dropping slow, you can push those carbs.
Yeah, my weight hasn't. It's been chipping a little bit. I had a big drop. I went from 273 down to 274 within a week, and then it didn't budge for the last 4 weeks. It just stayed at 260, 262.
You meant you said 74 to 73. You meant 74 to 63.
Sorry, yeah. I dropped like 9 pounds in a week.
Whole fucking pound.
Yeah. No, I dropped like 8 or 9 pounds in a week, and then didn't change anything. We kept it the same, and then my weight hasn't budged for the last like 3 or 4 weeks. And I've got leaner, but now I'm at the point where I'm like, I've got leaner, but not quite as lean as I want to be.
Yeah.
Well, it's like me and you. It's like me and you were talking about, Ben. It's like we were saying, you're not a 265-pound bodybuilder on stage. And right. I know I'm not a 275-pound bodybuilder on stage. So the scale, people say, the scale doesn't matter. The scale does matter to a certain extent. Like I was at 270, between 272 and 275 for like 3 or 4 weeks, probably 3 weeks. And I kept looking better, but I'm like, I know this scale has to drop eventually. Like I know that weight's got to go somewhere. So
I'd like, go on.
Go ahead, Ian.
I see this all the time with guys on Instagram. They're, be a week out, 2 weeks out, they're posting their weight and, they're 15 pounds heavier than I know they should be on stage. And I'm like, either you're lying about your weight or you're going to be in really bad shape. Which one is it? Because, for one, you didn't gain 20 pounds from last year. And even if you gained a bit, like, you're not like you said, some people you just know are not 275-pound bodybuilders on stage.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I know I've lost size. So I know my last stage weight was like 258. So I expect to be like 250 or even less. So I'm like, I can't be hovering around 275.
No.
You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense.
My last, when I did the qualifier in 2017, I was 248. So I was 6 weeks out from the finals. So my qualifier was 248 with probably 5 or 6 pounds to really dial in.
Yeah.
And then I overshot and way overdieted the last 6 weeks, right? But I know that my legs are a little downsized when how they used to be. My upper body's probably a little bigger. So I'm thinking between 245 and 250 is where I should be coming into the final week. That's if I'm in shape, before I've started like dehydrating or anything like that. I know if I'm a smidge under 250, I know that I'm more confident in my head of where I need to be.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, right? Like if you're 248 and you're not in shape, you're just going to keep pushing anyway.
Yes.
Yeah. I know. I'm just at the point where I was 262. I know that I'm not peeled at 262, regardless of what.
Yeah.
That's too heavy. I'm not a 262-pound bodybuilder. No way. Yeah. So I'm tall and I'm heavy, but I'm not 260 on stage.
Yeah, I don't think people should be cutting food out of their diets. I think it's just, and I don't know what your reasoning is, Ben, but like I've been doing this for so long. I know I kind of know how my body's supposed to feel. So I can do it for a couple of days and then go back to my normal diet and like my body will level off, but I'll have chipped away a couple pounds of fat. And it's like, I can hover, then I can go back to like my normal diet at that point. Ian, you're looking a little bit leaner in the face again. What's going on? Are we going to get
I got a haircut.
Are we going to get a surprise in New York or what?
No, I just got a haircut yesterday, so I'm nice and cleaned up.
Have you become like anti to saying anything online anymore? It seems like
I just don't know, man. I'm just prepping. I'm just like feeling good, looking good. I'm just like kind of rolling with the punches right now.
I don't believe you. You're too calculated. I know this is what happened. I think you said a lot of stuff before Tampa and you're like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm not going to say anything. And I'm just going to show up at a show somewhere.
Sure. Maybe I'll do that.
Yeah. And that's a valid, I guess that's valid. I mean, I don't know, but I think people are, I think there's an in-between, right? There's a place where you can say, So nothing, nothing, I'll let anything out of the bag. That's it. We're just going to wait.
I legitimately am just like not like at that place yet where I'm like willing, to 100% commit like out online to what I'm doing. So
yeah. All right.
But you do have a plan in your own head, right? You know what you're doing. Yeah.
I know what I'm doing.
Fuck, man. I thought we could get it out of you today.
I've held out too long now.
We were having a debate online. We normally wait to get into the questions, but can I just say something before we get into anything? If I rant a lot over the course of the next 6 weeks, I would like everybody to know that I've entered the hunger zone and I'm likely to fucking snap at stupid fucking comments. Like somebody messaged me yesterday. I wrote a caption yesterday after my post and I wrote something about not having fun. And some fucking guy writes, if you're not having fun, you shouldn't be bodybuilding. And I'm like, there's a difference between fun and fucking passion, right? Yeah. Like when I get up at fucking 7:30 after going to bed at 3 a.m. because I'm editing video, it's not fucking fun to get up and do my cardio.
No.
You know what I mean? Like there's a difference between I'm having a drink and I'm drunk and I'm having fun and I love what I'm doing. Those are two different things.
There's no athlete at the absolute elite level that has fun every day. They do training and they're dieting. Like, I mean, you take anyone at that level. I mean, an NFL player, an NBA player, anything, when they're doing their 5 a.m. practices, they're fucking, traveling every day, they're hopping on planes all the time to fucking go. You think they're like, yay, another flight to fucking Indianapolis. They're like, fuck this shit. They're like, I want to stay home with my wife and kids. I don't want to train today. I'm fucking tired. Like, but they do it because, like you said, they're driven and they're passionate about what they do. But they're not like loving every second of it all the time. But the fact that they still do it even when they're not is what is the differentiation there.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that you don't love what you're doing because it's not fun. I reserve the word fun for like I'm at an amusement park and I'm eating fucking hot dogs and I'm with my girlfriend and I might be getting drunk later on that night. That's fun.
Yeah, but you enjoy like seeing the transformation in your physique and getting lower body fat and like, you know, the process and the end result you do enjoy in the basis of it.
Yeah, I have a passion for being able to control my mind and my physique. And like people that like can't stay away from eating a fucking muffin or they can't lose a pound because they're like, well, I don't know how to, you know, I got to have this fucking 100% fat dressing on my salad. So, and they have just tried all this trouble losing weight. They can't stay away from food. They can't stay. I pride myself in knowing that I've mastered the art of, I can just stay away from whatever the fuck I want to do. I can make my body get fat. I can make my body get lean. That's the enjoyment of bodybuilding is like being able to, just having complete control over everything you're doing. And then the reward is achieving the goal that you've set out for yourself. It's not, the term fun is like has a different context to me.
Yeah, I agree.
So I don't know, Ben, you got any thoughts on that?
Well, it's that whole thing that we said where it's like everyone can train when you're motivated, right? Like it's super easy when the off season or whatever, when you actually want to do something, but the difference comes and like what Iain was saying, the separation comes in, and I think you've said it, discipline. Yeah. That's where discipline kicks in. When you're tired, you're hungry, you don't want to do that kind of shit, but it's all with the payoff of the end goal, right? The payoff is the fun is the payoff.
Yeah, the fun,
not the actual. Sometimes like the literal action and process is grueling sometimes, right? Starving yourself and doing a ton of cardio. But when we come to stripping down and posing and seeing the progress we've made week on week, that's the fun.
It's not even the word fun to me doesn't even apply. It's achievement and
rewarding.
The reward.
The payoff, the payoff.
Yeah. The term fun means something totally different.
Because even for me, like I'll be 100% honest, I don't even enjoy competing. I mean, I actually don't even like going on stage. I don't like posing. I don't like getting sprayed. I don't like shaving my body. I don't like 98% of the actual end result of bodybuilding. I enjoy, like you said, I like that I can test myself to the limits. I know I can do things that people can't when it comes to, you know, pushing myself from a diet perspective, a training perspective. And I like seeing, you know, what I can get out of my physique and pushing it in a different manner and getting a different end result every time, you know?
Yeah. I really feel like people who don't compete, or maybe if they don't really have a passion or an ultimate goal for this, they don't understand what it is we're doing, because the term fun isn't, I don't know. It just doesn't apply. So anyway, the point I'm trying to make is if I fucking rant my ass off over the next 6 weeks,
like you just did,
it's because of stupid fucking comments like that, that I normally would be able to just fluff off. But now I'm like, yeah. Anyway, so me and Iain were talking about, before we started the podcast, we were having a little conversation in the Q&A. Somebody had asked who the best Canadian bodybuilder was, and they mentioned me, Iain, Quint, Reagan, Ben, Frank, you know, like all the Canadians, right? And I was joking.
They didn't mention Frank. I threw him in there.
Yeah, they didn't mention Frank, which I think Frank gets discounted a lot. I don't know why.
Frank, I think now, because I think the social media era, he's been more of like a cultural icon from those black and gray photos and like from Animal and stuff like that, than he's been a bodybuilder in social media days.
I agree.
You know, I think he was kind of before that. You know, in his heyday of bodybuilding was kind of like at the beginning of that. So I don't think he gets the credit that he's due as a competitive bodybuilder. And it was also a pretty short competitive career, where then when you look at guys like Regan, you know, is in the forefront of social media. So, I mean, he gets hyped up even past what his, you know, competitive, you know, statistics might show, you know, or Antoine, guys like that. So, you know, I think, Frank definitely is getting, you know, slightly a disservice because of, you know, where he got so famous was from ads, right?
Well, I think it's funny because Frank's the one who started it. Really, if you think about it,
Frank's a goddamn Olympian, right?
Yeah. Well, but it's not only that. I mean, like for Canadians back in the day, none of us really thought we could make a living at this.
Yeah.
And then Frank was the first one to like get a contract, make some money.
Yeah.
Then I think it was me, then it was Ben, and then I mean there's people before us, but I think in the modern day anyway.
Yeah.
It was the three of us, and then I think it started to kind of roll after that. But as far as like who the best guy is, me and Ian were having an interesting conversation because Ian was saying that it's based on statistics, like
Whoa.
Well, that's kind of what you're saying. I mean, not all of it, but.
All right, 1 sec. I lost my screen. How do I see you guys again? I can't even see you.
Click maybe the video button. You might have hit it by accident because that would.
All right, well, that's good enough. Okay.
Can you see us again or no?
Yeah.
Okay. So, weren't you saying that it's more of a statistic thing?
No, I wasn't saying. I was saying in what the ranking I was giving was strictly based off the statistics.
Oh, okay.
I'm not saying that's the right way or the wrong way. I'm just saying in the way that I was deciphering it in that specific. I mean, there's a million different ways you could decipher it. Which one's right or wrong? I mean, it could be a million different things. The one I was just giving was like as if it was any other sport. If this was, football with touchdowns and fucking basketball with how many your 3-pointers, whatever. I don't fucking know sports, but you know what I mean? Those kind of statistics. I was breaking it down strictly by as if it was an Olympia qualification based on points, wins,
so
Arnold placings are worth the most and blah, 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 blah,
Yeah. Okay. So Ben, do you think when people judge bodybuilders, because this isn't just about the Canadian guys, do you think they take more into consideration statistics, or do you think more they just look at their physiques? How do you think people judge?
You mean the average fan?
Well, I mean somebody who knows what they're looking at, not somebody who just like picked up a fucking magazine, just somebody who actually follows bodybuilding. Like,
I think if they know what they're talking about, they look at the physique.
Yeah, because I think if we go statistically, like that means I'm as good as Sean Ray. But in reality, Sean Ray would beat my fucking ass on stage. So it's like,
that's what I mean. If you rock up, I mean, and I'm not going to take anything away from, say, Brandon, but Brandon's an Olympian. But it's a different Olympia competition that he entered than Curry.
Brandon Curry. Okay, sorry.
Take his Olympia win, for instance, versus some of Ronnie's or Jay's, where they're very highly competitive. The level, it was a slightly different scenario, right? I'm not taking anything away from his Olympia. I'm just comparing someone's Olympia win versus another. It sometimes depends on who's at the show, right?
I agree in the aspect because I know my lowest placings are my best looks. So I mean, it's not necessarily like translating, and I mean some of my worst placing or best placings are my worst looks. I mean, like Tampa, for example, was definitely one of my worst all-time looks, or Toronto Pro against John. Those are my two worst looks, and those are the two times I placed second in the show. Spain, where I won, I looked pretty good. But then I had like Vancouver Pro where I looked really, really good. Where I placed fourth. I have some other shows, or Tampa the year before, or last year third.
But that's why that show exactly is why placings don't necessarily matter, because
I agree with you. 100%.
Yeah, because Vancouver, you looked amazing, but the lineup was deadly at that show.
Yeah,
like everybody was like Olympia shredded.
Well, same with Vancouver. I mean, it was haughty.
Or Vancouver was the one I was thinking of. Sorry, Vancouver was the one. I mean, obviously what you said makes sense, Ian, because like it's the only way to take all your emotions out of it. Like you're just going statistically.
Credentials,
credentials. But I think in bodybuilding terms, I don't know if anybody really does that. So I think if we're going to break down, I can honestly say out of all the Canadians that were mentioned, man, you got the new crop of talent is like way that the new crop of talent, Ian included, have much more potential than me or Ben or Frank.
Anton looks insane.
I think
Anton and Quint, I think.
Anton,
aside from Ian, I mean, the guys.
Antoine is shredded, but I think like at my best, like say when I was 30, 31, I could stand with Antoine. And maybe
Antoine still doesn't have nearly enough tissue up top to match his legs. I mean,
Antoine's got a massive lower body.
But I think he's verge of classic physique through some parts of his upper body,
But I think Quint, on the other hand, man, that fucking kid with a few more years is going to be deadly. Like
potential wise, Quinton is hand and foot above everybody else.
Yeah. Like Quint has the potential to be the best Canadian bodybuilder ever.
Agreed.
If he stays on the trajectory he's on.
I think for him, it's going to be here,
Yeah, I mean, as long as he stays surrounded by the team he's around, I think.
I mean, also, like, when push comes to shove, like, getting 100% lean for shows and pushing it, to that last little bit, like, I mean, Quentin has all the tools in the bag, but I mean, we have yet to see him peeled on stage.
Yeah.
Which
I still, me and you have had that conversation. I still think that's an age thing. And I know you don't like to use that because you were really shredded at a young age.
Sure.
But
okay, so yeah, either way, but yeah, we still need to see that. But once if he shows that mental tenacity to really push it and get down to that nitty gritty and get the conditioning there, I 100% agree. But that's still yet to be shown. But I agree that from a potential, and I've told this to Quentin and said it, openly on social media a million times. I think Quentin definitely has the most potential of almost anyone competing right now.
Yeah, not even just Canadians. I mean, I don't remember seeing another. What is he? I don't know, 24 now. I don't know how old he is, but
yeah, mid-20s.
I don't know. I've never seen it. I don't remember ever seeing a 24-year-old that looks like that. Like
he's tall as well, right? He's like 5'11", 6 foot.
I believe he's 5'11", 6 foot. Yeah, I mean, I've been around him a few times. He's definitely like close to 6 feet.
Because he's filled that frame up pretty well at that age.
If he can just, I think the only knock on Quint, I mean, aside from obviously he's got to get that grainy look one day, but if he can get a bigger back, like if his back can match his legs, then he'll fucking start just tearing through.
If you look at the pictures he just posted today, like that most muscular looks great. His side shots or that 3/4 turn he does really looks fucking crazy. But then it goes to back double and you're like, it's still nice, but it's it's not quite up to par, especially like his front double or his front relaxed are just fucking bonkers.
Yeah, it's not that it's like lagging badly. It's not like he just has a bad back. It's almost that it doesn't match everything else because everything else is so good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's interesting. The question's interesting anyway. I just thought I'd bring it back up because we were talking about it, but yeah, I don't know.
And you're not including Chris in that, are you? Because he's
well, no, doing men's open.
Yeah, but Chris turned pro as an open, right? Or am I
right? He competed in the open.
Yeah, but if Chris did open, he'd get killed.
He would get killed.
Yeah, I know.
He would be better looking than everybody. But
I'm saying technically he's a bodybuilder, right?
He's a classic. He's not an open bodybuilder.
No, but if you look at it in this perspective, Chris, when he turned pro, he lost the overall to Justin Rodriguez at North Americas, and Justin Rodriguez was in mediocre at best conditioning. Like he's had way better showings as a pro conditioning wise, and Chris lost to Justin Rodriguez. Justin beat him handily, and Justin is a mid-tier pro at best. Justin's
he's good in the lower.
Pardon?
He's lower, but Justin's lower body is very good, but he's up as.
Yes, but I'm saying he's not a show winner. He might be the odd 4th place to 7th place kind of guy, and he beat Chris pretty handily. So I mean, I think Chris would be. He would have a tough time. I mean, especially with his arms and his back. I mean, no matter how much muscle you put on Chris, his arms would still be small.
I think if you put enough muscle on Chris, he would do well. I just think right now he's not big enough to start.
I'm going to disagree with you here only because I don't think Chris's frame, I don't think it would. I don't know how to describe this. I just know his physique so well that I don't think it would ever. The ratios would never change, I think he would just get bigger where he's good, and I don't think his back would ever match. I don't think his arms would ever get better. I don't think it would change in that aspect.
I think I'd agree. He'd probably upsize, but his aesthetic wouldn't carry over.
I think he would be. I think even though he beat Regan as an amateur in bodybuilding and beat Regan in classic, Regan would beat him in men's open.
But what you're describing sounds like Dennis Wolf, though.
Yeah,
because Dennis Wolf had. His arms weren't amazing, and his back was always the knock on him. And he won a whole fucking slew of shows, and he was top 5 at the Olympia.
Maybe, sure. Yeah, I mean, maybe that's a possibility. I mean, you'd be talking Chris putting on obviously a significant amount of muscle at that point.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't see that in his physique. I mean, it's hard for me to envision it, but yeah, no, I think classic was just like the perfect fit for him.
He probably
does.
Sorry,
go ahead, Ben.
I was going to say, Ian, because Chris so well in his diet, does he have to almost do what Flex does, which is hold back? Does his body want to grow and he has to hold it back so he can make?
Yeah, he doesn't like push the food by any stretch in the off season. I mean, he has a little more freedom in his life. If he wants to, skip a meal here and there, or eat off a meal or whatever. He has a bit more flexibility because he's not really pushing the envelope to grow. And I mean, most of that for him really comes down to the drug uses, especially with his kidneys. I mean, during the off season, he just really just doesn't use drugs. That's what it is, Like he'll still eat, but like he'll take like 300-400 milligrams of test versus like guys who've lost in cycles, you know? So he just doesn't really use drugs in the off season. And really up until 12 weeks out, he doesn't really take anything. So that's really where he goes, just to, I mean, keep his weight down and keep him healthy so he can compete when the time comes, right?
Mm. Ben, you seem a little dead today. What's going on? Is the diet killing you or what?
No, I'm good. I feel good.
You seem a little like, kind of like, I'm here.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
You're just picking on me. Fuck you.
All right, I'm going to get to a couple of these questions. What exactly? Oh, you know what? This was a good one I saw that annoyed the fuck out of me too. Did you take lower shelf steroids?
Wait.
What?
You didn't put those people in a ranking.
Oh, where is it actually? Oh,
Ben, you first, because you're not in the names where Fouad and I are.
I already put the rankings. This is what I said. The guy asked the question,
wait,
and I said,
"Don't say anything. Let him go first." Ben, you go first.
Okay, go
Fouad,
ahead.
Ben, me, Antoine.
Why are you answering for him? Let him answer.
No, I'm not putting them in order. I'm telling him the names.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Quentin and Frank.
The best as it is currently, right? Because obviously Quinn hasn't done shit.
Their all-time best look.
Yeah, the all-time best, not like right now. Because I'm like last right now.
I'm gonna go Ben.
You cunt. All right, thanks, Ian. Thanks a lot, Ben. We'll see you next week.
I can't discredit Ben because he's just. I'm just joking. Some of the stats that I mean, Ben was at the top flight for so I'm going to go Ben off the top of my head, and I'm just going to do it quick. Ben, Frank, Ian, Fouad.
Whoa!
I'm fourth on the list.
Why?
Your bodybuilding knowledge.
Those top four. Why? Go on.
Your bodybuilding credibility just went down the toilet.
Yeah, I got to give it. Frank ahead of anyone is crazy on that one. I'll give you that.
I beat Frank like 3 times after he turned pro.
Right, but I can't ignore the Olympia.
What about the Olympia? Where did Frank place at the Olympia?
Well, he qualified for it. Yeah,
I did the Olympia in 2008. That was my second year as a pro, and I qualified 4 times after that.
Frank didn't win by qualifying a show. He won by coming third.
No, he won on the third. All right, okay. I see the black and white pictures are fucking me up, right?
You have a man crush on Frank. That's the problem.
I got a little hard on Frank. Okay, I'll tell you this. I've been around a lot of pros.
Okay, wait. Can I say something? Can I just stop you for 1 second? There's a difference between, okay, if the question was, what is your favorite physique? I could see Frank being at the very top of the list, right? Because people love Frank's physique. That massive chest, massive arms.
But why am I getting slammed? Why am I getting slammed for putting Ben first?
No,
you're not. It was Frank. It was Frank that threw me off.
All right, I'd probably go in. Okay, Ben for me is a solid at the minute as it stands.
Okay.
The most successful bodybuilder that I can think of stage-wise, right?
Okay.
Then I'd go, okay, you, Ian, sorry, Fouad, Ian, Frank. I'm putting Frank. I'm sorry, Frank's in my top 4, I don't care. Then I'm going to go Quint and then Antoine.
Where's Regan? Where's Regan fit?
Oh, fuck me, I forgot that guy. I'm going to go Regan, Quint, only because Quint hasn't proved himself yet, then Antoine.
So Antoine's last on the list.
I would be pretty close. I would go, it's close. See, Kay, this is the one thing that gets me, because if you go by favorite physiques, as much as Ben is good, I don't like, and this is going to sound hilarious because I coach Chris, I hate bodybuilders with small arms. I just hate it. I can't do it. For me, it's like if you're a bodybuilder, you gotta have big fucking arms,
I don't have big arms anymore. Fuck.
But your arms, like when you look at your arms in a t-shirt, you're still like, this guy's got big fucking arms.
Yeah.
You don't look like, when you see Chris Bumstead in a t-shirt or Ben Pekulski in a t-shirt, you think he's like fucking average Joe,
Yeah.
Like they're like guys that are like 260 on stage with like 18-inch arms. It's fucking weird. I don't like it. So for me, that's a huge detraction from Ben's physique. And I mean, his back is like worse than mine and my back's not great. So, I mean, he's completely riding on his conditioning and his legs and his like kind of nice shape. So yeah, I mean, it's
Ben,
tough.
Ben only.
If I'm
Ben,
going, I would go you, Ben, me, Regan, Quinton, Antoine.
I think Ben Chow is only picking Ben Mikulski because he's got a second place at the Arnold.
Yeah, which is when I said the statistics online. I was like, that's tough. If you're going statistics, Fouad has more wins with 2 and Ben only has 1, but Ben has a second place at the Arnold. So it's like, you know, it's.
But I have two sixth places at the Arnold.
Yeah.
2 top 6 finishes at the Arnold. That's pretty good too.
Yeah.
You know what? When I was at my best, we were never at our best at the same time because I was at my best at the Flex Pro in 11, and he was at his best at the Flex Pro in 12. But I really think my 11 physique would have beat Ben's physique in 12.
I agree.
I really do because I don't think
I'm with Ian
Ben had a huge freak factor, but he wasn't complete. He was missing a back, missing arms. He was all.
I'm with Ian.
Legs.
My list looks different if you ask me what physique I prefer, right? Because I don't have Ben up as high as I don't have Ben as number 1 in terms of what physique
Yeah, but what we're saying is, but that's not what we're asking. What we're saying is in bodybuilding terms. And
I think if you did it this way, if you took all our best physiques of all time and put it in today's Olympia, I think Fouad's physique would place higher than Ben's.
Okay,
I could
see it.
Without being biased. I really believe that. I could be wrong, but
I think his back and arms would bring him down in today's Olympia, and your physique is more complete, even though he's got the crazy legs and his conditioning's always really good.
Yeah.
And his waistline is nice. I think
his waistline is not nice. His waistline is only nice the last year.
Sorry, yes.
In the last remember when he took second at the Arnold's, that was the year Arnold came out and he's like, what the fuck are we looking at?
Yeah.
And I remember because all of us that year were like, oh shit, is he talking about me? And I think he was talking about all of us really because that was the lineup where Arnold came out and started talking shit. So Ben fixed his waistline when he won his show at the end. But he also sacrificed like 5 or 10 pounds of muscle.
He didn't look as freaky.
Yeah. He wasn't as big when he got, because that's the one thing Patrick Tour said is if you want to bring down your waist, you're going to have to eat less and you're probably going to lose muscle because it's the only way to bring it down. And I think Ben was a perfect example of that. But I think anybody would argue that Ben looked better. Like when he was a little smaller and he could pull a vacuum,
I didn't like the look myself, but
I didn't think he was as freaky like wow factor, but I thought he looked better. Like, you know what I mean? I was like,
the thing is when you take a little size off of someone that already has like a lot of flatness in their back, it just made it look like so empty, you know?
Yeah.
Like his conditioning was crazy and his waist with the little vacuum did look better. But like when you take an already flat back and take a bit of tissue off it in the arms, it just like, it's like, you know, I mean, like, you know, I did 2016 Toronto Pro with him. Is that the year we all did it? 2016?
Toronto Pro. I think that's the year I took second to Victor.
Nathan won?
Oh, yeah. That was the year I was out of shape. Yeah, Victor. I should have beat fucking, you know, what's his name? Jim Mannion's like 5 pounds later and it was your show.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I knew it. And I wasn't, I think I started dieting for that show like late and I was fucking around a lot.
Late and then killed yourself for a few weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I posted a diet where I was doing 3 shakes a day, which was true. And then Boston Lloyd started calling me a liar.
I remember.
he's like, you're fucking lying. You're just trying to promote your company. And I'm like, I swear to God, I'm doing 3 shakes a day because I was trying to get my weight down.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was the year.
But it's interesting. It's what you said as well. I think you said like Hani said the same thing. Like when you diet, your weaknesses are the things that are going to lose the weight first, right? And so the same thing with Ben. He downsized his waist, but his arms and back suffer even more because of it. His legs hung around a bit, but it just makes that.
You're just so in awe with Ben's legs. It's hard to for me to give it a fair analysis. What I see his legs are is Lucas Osladil's glutes. It's like they're not actually an addition to his physique. It just fucking confuses the shit out of you and makes you think they're way better than they are. You know?
Well, they are his physique, right? That is.
I know, but it's like. When you really look at it, it's a massive imbalance. You know.
Can I make a quick statement about why I think Ben was so incredible? And it wasn't his. I don't think it was his legs. It was obviously that was part of his wow factor. But Ben's biggest claim to fame was the illusion. This is his Arnold. His legs are incredible and his arms are bad, but it's the illusion because he had such good shoulders. that he had this really crazy X. His front relax was probably his best pose.
Yeah, and he had a very clean look. Like, he always had very nice skin. He was always very polished, you know.
Yeah, he had a good look. His look was more of one of like crazy illusion than anything. Like, look at like.
Yeah, pull up a pic.
Like that. Can you guys see that?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like that's that's a great physique. Like, but that's the year I beat him. Or is this 2012? Is this 2012? This might be 2012. But no, he had. I think Ben's biggest strong point.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah,
was
his arms are just.
That's Vancouver when he downsized.
Yeah, I mean,
you can see it in his arms. His arms just.
I mean, know what that physique looks like? That front double. That looks like a better Brad Rowe.
Ian pulling no punches.
Well, I mean, no, it does. I mean, it's got the vacuum, the small arms, and ridiculous legs. I mean, that's literally Brad Rowe, just better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember when these two had a feud for a little while? Branch hated Ben.
Oh yeah, I remember that, the Olympia.
Because Ben didn't show him the respect, right? Ben came out and he started talking shit at the Olympia, and Branch is like, "Who the fuck are you?" And Ben was kind of notorious for that. He just, would speak his mind. This was the Tampa. I beat. He took third here. I took second. I thought this was one of his best looks, but again, like, it's the illusion. The waist, he knew how to like elongate it, and then he had the massive legs, and it created this like really good X shape.
Sorry. That's my dogs.
That's 12. Ben should have won this show. This is the 2012 Flex Pro. Ben should have won this show. Lionel should have took second. But anyway, so Ben.
But then Luke had that similar thing, right? So Luke's waist, because he could pull a vacuum. Luke didn't have a small waist, like measurement-wise.
Yeah, I know.
But Luke's lats and his legs meant the illusion was just so like he looked like he had a small waist, but in reality, you measure that thing. It wasn't.
Yeah, Luke had what Ben didn't. He had the lats from the front that flared, and then he also had massive arms and big ass triceps.
But so I mean, what you're saying about carrying the illusion, Ben's legs allowed his waist to appear small, like it's so far out,
Yeah.
I just can't get past the small arms.
Okay, so this guy, I wanted to get in on this too. This question. This guy says, "Did you take lower shelf steroids at the beginning, or was it always top shelf?" And I'm like, can somebody tell me what the fuck that means?
What does that mean?
Because I know exactly what it means.
I used to have this joke with Luke. I'd be like, "Hey man, can you give me some of your top drawer stuff?" Because I'm like, our stuff's got the same label on it, but yours is a different. You got the premium grade stuff up in your drawer.
Yeah, you must be using something different because you're fucking growing. Like
yeah.
Well, the funny thing is, like, what do these guys think? There's like no fucking pharmaceutical trend. You know what I mean? Like,
I know.
Like, what other than tests and like a few things? I mean, everyone's getting lab shit at some point. I mean, like, where do they think this is coming from?
It's funny because guys would ask me back in the day, like, or not even back, even recently, guys would be like, what brand are you using? What this are you using? And I would tell them, and it'd be like, you could see in their fucking face they wouldn't believe me.
Yeah.
They're like, no. Like, they would either tell me I was lying, or I could just tell they thought I was lying, because they think that we have like some connection to a doctor somewhere that's like IVing us like fucking straight like pharmacy test or something. And I'm like, it's not. We're all taking the same shit, man. No. Like, everybody's taking the same shit.
But that's where the dosages come in as well, because like an average to a good amateur needs a lot more than a genetically gifted pro, right?
What do you mean? Say that again?
So I think this is where the discrepancy comes with dosage, or the misconception about dosages, because I know a lot of amateurs that run way more than top Olympians do and have done. And it's because the top guys don't need, like, they respond that well to, say, 300.
No.
What?
No, don't use the hyper responder bullshit, please.
No. I'm not saying that. Okay, there's a difference in a guy that's only going to be a top amateur, even if he takes everything under the sun, versus a guy that's going to compete in the top 3 at pro shows, look at Olympia qualifications. I'm sorry, there is the genetic component and their ability to get more from less.
I don't know if
including food.
Okay,
right?
wait a minute.
There are guys that go on.
I'll say this. after my podcast with Dr. Dean, he explained to me what being a hyper responder is, and there is such a thing, and I agree with you there. But I feel like all too often that's the main excuse for people when they're taking a bunch of gas and they're like, why aren't I Fouad size or Ian size or Luke's size or Ben's size or
better responders?
Yeah, they must be hyper responders and I'm not. And I'm like, actually, it's because I didn't fucking miss a meal and I trained my fucking ass off, and you are on the weekends partying and you still.
I know some amateurs that are more dialed in, more locked in than any pro I know. Right? Okay. They're more obsessed because they're chasing it, and they have no business chasing it. And it makes me cringe because I'm like, you just don't have it. You don't have, even no matter how hard you work, no matter how many drugs you take, you're not going to bridge that gap. You're always going to be an amateur.
No. I agree with you. There's a genetic component, and there is such a thing as hyper responders. Yeah. I just want to make the point that you don't know if you're one of those things unless you're doing everything else fucking perfectly.
No, correct. I agree with that. What I'm saying is, if you say everyone is doing everything the same,
yeah, I get it.
You'll get an amateur that's running like 2 grams of test, a gram of trend, gram restaurant, and still looks like a pretty average to shit. But he kills himself in the gym. All these meals go in, and he just hasn't got it. I know plenty of guys like that are there kicking around the amateur level.
Yeah, no, and I agree.
It comes down to time too, though, because I mean, like, I know when I was younger, like, we all, I'm sure, at some point when we were young, had the more is better mentality.
Yeah.
And fucking went crazy with shit, and like, it didn't speed up the process at all, but it was like, over time, it's just like, I was consistent with the food, with the training, and all this for 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. That's when the noticeable changes happened. It wasn't like, I blasted drugs for 6 months and gained 20 pounds. I've never had that happen in my life. Yeah. I think it's more just these guys, it's like, they'll do it, but they've been doing it for 6 months or a year, and they're expecting to all of a sudden look like fucking Fouad. It's like, well, that's not real,
Ben,
that's what I mean. I'm like, my point to it was, and here's what I think. I don't think anybody can just walk in, say, go live with Fouad for the next 3 years and be on their road to being a pro. Right, there's
people that aren't going to. Yeah, there's people that aren't going to be able to make it just because. Of course. I just want to make sure we don't listen. And I think anytime you give people an excuse, they're going to take it.
Yeah.
So I don't want to give people the hyper responder excuse. And if we are going to give them that excuse, there has to be a note that says you have to be doing everything else perfectly before you can claim I'm not a hyper responder. That's all. That's all I'm trying. I just want to. Counting fats from meats versus counting added fats. What are the differences from the two different schools of thought? Anybody? Ben?
What, counting meats?
He wants to know. He wants to know why we count fats from meats versus counting added fats. I mean, I know the answer, but I want to, you know what I mean? Like,
you count added fats. I don't get it.
I think what he's saying is this: like, if I have chicken, rice, and I add an avocado, I don't count the fat from the chicken.
Okay, sure.
You know, in my total calories, I do, but I'm saying, like, in my head,
beef or salmon, you would be counting those fats.
Yeah, that's
so
different.
Just lean meats, I wouldn't count. Like, white fish, if it's got a couple grams, or your chicken or whatever, I wouldn't count that. But if you're talking like beef, salmon, whole eggs, like, obviously I'm counting the fat in that.
It's like this. Yeah. It's like when I create a diet, people ask me, like, well, how come you counted the protein from the oatmeal? I'm like, I don't count the protein from the oatmeal.
No.
I count the macros from the food, the purpose from the, like, what I'm trying to get from that food.
Yes.
So if I have a steak, I want the fat from the steak, so I count that fat.
Exactly.
But if I'm eating chicken, I'm not trying to get the fat from the chicken. So I'll add some olive oil, and the olive oil fat is what I'll count for my fats.
Yes.
Is that are we all kind of in agreement there? So people kind of know why we count things the way we do.
Yep.
But also, if you look at our meals, most of our meals are only 2 or 3 ingredients, right?
Yeah.
It gets complicated when these guys have got like 5, 6 different things. Then you're gonna have to start going, okay,
figuring out
residual protein over here. If you're not, like, fuck that, just keep it simple: chicken, rice.
So maybe you can explain this to me then. So let's say I have like my first meal: egg whites, eggs, oatmeal, peanut butter, right? And the oatmeal's got like whatever 4 grams of protein, say, in like half a cup or a cup or whatever.
Yeah.
Why do we not count that? And I know it's because it's not complete, but when you add the aminos from that to the other aminos, is it not usable?
I don't really know. I mean, I guess you could. It's just getting complicated when you start counting all the macronutrients from every single food source like that.
I'm not saying we should. I'm just saying if somebody asks the question, if somebody asks that question, like, okay, I had eggs, I had egg whites, I had oatmeal, so
it's just it's negligible. It's like,
yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're adding,
if it's an incidental macro, I don't count it.
Yeah.
So if it's under 5 grams per 100, I'm not really including.
That's not what I'm asking though. I guess what I'm asking is a more scientific question. I'm not saying we should count the protein from oatmeal.
Well, your body counts it. Your body
counts it. That's what I'm asking.
Right. Yeah. But see, this is where, and we had the conversation a few episodes ago where James was like, that's why you stick to the plan. Because if you're eating oatmeal every day, any changes to that oatmeal it crosses the board, right?
Yeah.
If you're having oatmeal one day, then the next day you're going to change it to potato. The next day you're going to have white bread. The next day you're going to have, and you're trying to hit the same macros. This is where, if it fits your macros, is going to go all out of whack, right? Because now your incidentals change.
They all start to add up. Yeah. To start adding. So
my plan says I'm eating chicken or eggs, whole eggs, oatmeal, peanut butter. That's what I'm having for that meal.
Yeah.
Unless it's an emergency and I have to, make a shake or something to match it. But that's why it's important to stick to the same consistent meals if you're really trying to dial something in, right?
I just thought of another rant I wanted to ask you guys about. So, have you guys, when you guys started out and you were kind of watching like your favorite pro or whoever it is, like guys you're looking up to, did you have a lot of like nonsensical questions, or did you kind of fill in the gaps, like with the stuff that was obvious? Like, I'll give you an example.
I asked lots of silly questions.
No. Did you, or did you kind of like just kind of fill in the gaps on your own with common sense?
No. Back then I didn't. Now obviously I do, but back then I would ask every ridiculous little question ever.
Really?
Now I would. I don't think I have ever asked Patrick a question, to be honest. I'm just like, I understand what he's doing. I follow the plan, and anything that whatever, I just fill in the gaps with my own common sense. Back then I would have never done that. No.
So are you the guy like? Are you the guy that's messaging me going, what kind of scissors do you use to cut your meat?
Okay, no. No, not like that, but like,
dude,
no.
I put a video up a full day of eating, and I think I've gotten like 40 DMs from people that are just asking me what brand of scissors I use. And honestly, I have no fucking idea what brand it is.
Irrelevant. Who cares?
I don't even know. I just went to the cooking section. I grabbed a pair of fucking scissors. I don't know what brand it is. But I wonder sometimes why people are so focused on like the insignificant. Yeah, they're just insignificant fucking things. Like, how many times I've gotten the question, how much rest do I take between sets? I've gotten that question like probably 1,000 times in a week.
Yeah.
I don't know. I never asked that question when I started. I was like, I caught my breath. I'm ready to go again.
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of like the answer?
Yeah. I mean, I obviously when I was young, I would be on Google, like Googling that kind of shit. But then like I realized very, very quickly that everyone had a fucking different answer. And then I stopped Googling anything,
Yeah.
But that's the biggest trap. I mean, like you get online, you start Googling like, how much of this should I take? How much rest should I do? What split should I? You're going to get every fucking different answer from every one. The people writing these articles probably don't know even as much as you do.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's fucking pointless to even do that. I mean, that's a big thing I try and deter clients from. It's like, don't fucking Google shit. Like, if it's a basic, like, how many calories are in a fucking 100 grams of rice? Okay, go Google it. But if it's after that, just ask me or ask someone. Like, get a consistent answer. But you're gonna go on Google, you're gonna find 3,000 fucking different answers.
Yeah. What did you say? What were you gonna say, Ben?
I think that's what I figured out early on. That there's multiple ways to achieve. If you look at the Olympia stage, there's 15 guys up there. A lot of them dieted kind of the same but differently, right?
Yeah.
Slightly different coaches have different approaches. The thing that I learned is just it's application over time, right? You can choose. There's 10 different methods to getting in shape. Stick with one of them and keep working until you get there.
But that's an even more like, that's a question like food and stuff like that is stuff that I would ask. I'm talking about ridiculous. Like, okay, how many times have you gotten the question, do I weigh my food cooked or raw?
Yeah. Tons. Obviously.
Like every day I get that every day. And I'm like, it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter.
Do you think sometimes people are asking a question just to ask a question? Like just to talk to you, just to get like.
No, I think they genuinely want to know. And I'm like, if you weighed your shit raw at the start, just keep weighing it raw.
Yeah.
If you weighed your shit cooked at the start, just keep weighing it cooked. It doesn't fucking matter at that point, as long as you're consistent.
What matters,
yeah. And I'm like, just these questions, and I wonder to myself, it's not that I like, I answer them, I get back to people, but I wonder to myself, does anybody not just fill in the blanks with their own common sense?
Yeah, the guys that aren't sending you DMs. You got 300,000 followers. Like the guys who common sense aren't messaging you. Don't worry about it. The guys without are pestering you.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. I'm just curious if you guys ever, because I wasn't like that when I started out. So that's why I wanted to ask. Who wins? Ronnie, Dorian, Jay, or Phil? We already covered this kind of, but go ahead, guys.
Right.
Ben, you think Ben thinks Phil, I think.
Ronnie's my number one, right?
Oh, okay.
Ronnie is my number one. I'm just saying, I think Phil's a very it's
careful.
A toss-up,
Careful.
Yeah. I think Ronnie, then Phil, and then I think everyone else falls in line behind them.
I agree.
That's interesting. I don't know if I agree.
You like Jay, don't you? You got Jay.
I have to see them next to each other. I really do. I don't know what Jay at his very best would look like next to Phil at his very best. I think Jay would look.
Yeah, that would be. But next to Ronnie, he still would lose. Yeah.
Oh, Ronnie for sure is number one. There's no fucking comparison. Don't do trend if you plan on PCT. What does that mean? You guys ever heard of this?
Don't do trend if you want to PCT?
Yeah, he said this is the crap that's floating around on the forums. Your thoughts?
I don't even understand the question.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I'm missing the question.
So,
all right.
Whoa. So if you're planning to do a PCT, you shouldn't take trend. So if you do take trend, then you don't do.
You shouldn't do PCT. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
That makes no sense.
No, if you do trend, then you should definitely plan to do a PCT after and recover and fix yourself.
What is your one gym song you have to play when you lift heavy or intense? Ben, obviously you don't have one. You like Justin Bieber.
Christina Aguilera, Hurt.
Why are you so against like hard music?
I wish I'd screenshot. I'll do it after the podcast. I'm going to send them to you. I've had probably 4 messages this week alone that said, and I'm not making this up. Hey man, I lifted I squatted this week to like whatever it was, like Justin Bieber, whatever, and I was much calmer and I connected way more with the weight and I felt it.
Get the fuck
I swear.
Okay, you have to
find it. Later today, I will find the messages, screenshot them to you as proof, because I was pretty surprised, to be honest. I thought I was just taking the piss. I thought people would, there's a bunch of people that are like, oh, I slowed it down.
Not a bunch of people. You said 4. You said 4 people. You have 50,000 followers.
Okay, 4 people that weren't too embarrassed to message me.
Yeah.
Anyone listening, if you've done this, message me as proof to Fouad, and I'll screenshot it and show him. Because
we'll keep you anonymous, but send it in.
Yeah.
Why are you so against hard music? Tell me. What is it?
I'm not against hard music. Do you know what? I listen to harder music when I do my cardio, right?
I'm the opposite. I listen to dance music.
We had this discussion last week about squatting. If I'm just doing fluffy pump stuff, I can amp it. If I'm on a machine like a chest press machine, right, and I just want to go, then fine. But if I'm really dialing it in to a big, heavy compound lift, I gotta have all my ducks in a row. And if I'm too amped up over here, I promise you, I will walk it out all wrong, and I will go down all wrong. Because all I'm trying to do is move weight. I'm not trying to.
I can understand that.
Wait a minute, Ian lifts really heavy too. Are you the same as fucking Ben and James? You don't have like they don't like get amped up or hyped up or listen to hard music or anything when they lift heavy.
Yeah, I mean, I do. I mean, for sure. I mean, I'll be completely honest. I train 90% of the time without even listening to music.
Okay, that's what James said, I think.
Yeah.
What about emotion? One sec, sorry. What about emotion? Like, do you have like a last show that you didn't do well at or something? Do you have some type of like something you conjure up to like get into the lift?
I conjure up an emotion, but I don't like base it on like a situation necessarily. Like I just like find it inside myself and bring it out,
Okay, so you have some. Ben has like nothing. Ben's like
no. Okay, so I'll tell you this. I can do probably more reps if I'm fired up, right?
Okay. Yeah.
But I do better reps when I'm not. I do a better bodybuilding set when I'm down here. If I'm powerlifting, put me up here. I'll move weight up here.
But that's not what you said, though. You said that when you're going for a really heavy squat, you don't like
Yeah,
to be
but
up here.
my really heavy squat, I still want to do 6 to 8 damn fucking reps. If I'm doing a single,
so if I told you I want you to do 9 plates for a single, you would get amped up?
No, I'd stay calm. Okay, the squat for me is too complex of a movement to be able to just grip and rip. I need to. There's too many on the way down. You know, I need everything. I have to have my ritual. You know, my little I have to feel very comfortable.
What about a deadlift where it's like fucking just grip it and rip it? You know?
Yeah, that then I can go. You know.
Okay.
But I think of squat because it's on my back and I've got to walk it out. I've got to set on the way down. I'll know on the way down whether it's coming back up, right? But on the way down, a deadlift I can let go of, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, oh shit, I'm not getting that. Fuck it. I can take myself past that control zone.
Yeah.
For a squat, I have to be in control. I have to be able to be in control of my body to be able to squat the most.
What are your thoughts on post-show keeping a solid amount of test in, say, for example, 500 milligrams to jumpstart and really get the most out of your post-show rebound? I don't think there's anything to jumpstart. You're already on a long cycle during your prep. I would just stay on for a few more weeks.
Yeah, I mean, you could. I would cut out like a lot of. I always cut out like the harsh orals and stuff. Obviously, post-show.
You cut out all the cutting stuff and the hardeners.
The cutters, and the hardeners. Yeah, like obviously the halo, the windstroke, like anything like that would definitely go.
Yeah.
But I mean, depends where I am in my season. I mean, like last year after Tampa, when I was done because I had a very long season, I didn't continue that after. Like I shut it down, went like right off everything PCT right after the show. Where I've done other shows where it was a shorter season, where I was like, okay, I'm going to take advantage of this rebound. You know, I haven't been on drugs too long, so let's utilize this time. So it really is situation based, in my opinion. But no, I mean, yeah, it's you've already been taking stuff, just keep with it. Yeah.
Ben, you agree with that?
Yeah, I like a rebound. But like Ian said, if you've had a long season, then you shut it off. But if you've done, I don't know, like I'm doing, for instance, just this prep, and I'm doing 2 shows back to back. Well, I've got a 5 to 6 week window that I'd like to take advantage of.
For sure.
So yeah, I think it's the best time to grow. Personally.
Does one have to reduce overall protein intake for a while, 1 to 2 weeks right after a steroid cycle, to reduce the effort of your kidneys just to return it to normalcy? If you have healthy kidneys, there are no studies that say protein is bad for your kidneys.
Yeah. If you're completely healthy, then your protein's fine to eat. There's no problem there. I mean, from a digestion perspective, I mean, sure, lowering your protein to just like kind of, give your stomach a break. I mean, breaking down proteins are obviously, meat proteins especially is going to be the hardest. Just to give your digestive system a little break, maybe could be advantageous a couple times a year. But I mean, from a kidney standpoint, like, when you're talking correlation with a PCT, like Fouad said, if your kidneys are healthy, you're fine. If you're Chris Bumstead, keep your protein low.
Somebody in here says they did the potato challenge. I want everybody to know that we told Alex from our last podcast not to do the potato challenge. I don't know if did you know what the potato challenge is, Ian? The 5 kilograms, right?
I was on that podcast with you.
Yeah, you're on that. Yeah, but last week we had a special guest on, some kid from Bulgaria.
Okay.
And he said he wanted to do it. So,
who is this?
Just some random kid. So he's like, so we're like, okay, go ahead and do it, and I'll put the video on my channel.
Yeah.
But people were messaging me after going, he could hurt himself because there's like a fuckload of potassium in potatoes.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah.
And if there's any imbalances, he could fucking, he'd get hurt. So I'm like, I don't want to get fucking sued. So I messaged the kid. I'm like, maybe you shouldn't do it. So Alex is not doing the potato. But then he went and asked Dr. Dean. he went and messaged Dr. Dean, and he's like, do you think I'll hurt myself if I do the potato challenge?
And what
he's Irish. He loves a potato. That's not a fair question.
That's what he said.
Well, what did the doctor say?
Doctor said that he'd probably get some gastric distress. Yeah. But it wouldn't hurt him otherwise.
Wouldn't fucking do it. Yeah.
That's what I think. I'm like, you're gonna shit yourself. So what? I
okay.
I take the win.
Digestive enzymes. Go for it.
Yeah. When was the last time you had to sprint? How far could you sprint now? I haven't sprinted since high school.
I ran a track meet with Chris Bumstead and one of my buddies I used to run track with probably 5 years ago at 265.
How was that?
Scary.
Yeah.
That was still pretty quick. I mean, we did two summers in a row because the local track club here, like the Ottawa Lions, is like a big track club that I used to run with when I was in high school. And during the summer, they have what's called like Twilight Series. So just like anyone can enter, and you're all the heats are based off seed time. So like you enter your seed time. So we entered like ridiculously slow seed time. So we were running with like 8-year-olds, So there's like 270-pound me and 250-pound Chris running with a bunch of children. But I think one year we ran a full 100, and then the next year we just ran a 60.
Do you know your time? You know your time in the 100?
That was the first year, or the second year. I was a little heavier. I think I was like a low 12s.
That's not bad. I was expecting like 14.
No, it was like a 12:38 or something.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it wasn't. It was like a decent grade 9 kid,
Yeah.
And then the 60, I can't remember what I ran. A 6 something. I can't remember. 780s. I can't remember. Yeah. It was not great. It was better than my 100 because the 100, especially with the weight, I could feel I was really like after 50, 60 meters, that weight catches up with you big time. Yeah. But like the power out the gate is still there and is still like decent. And like form for sprinting, like obviously it's changed the dynamic because of my size, but like it's kind of like riding a bike. You kind of have those like patterns built in a little bit. But yeah, after you get to 50, I could feel I was like completely top end and just decelerating after that.
Did you used to run track?
Yeah, 1 and 200.
Okay. So you have all of the mechanics down.
Yeah. Okay. And Chris was a decent runner too. I think I slightly beat him. He was just a little bit behind me in the 100. And then my buddy that used to run track with me, he's still like small and in good shape. He like obviously fucking smoked us. He ran like an 11-1 or something. But
yeah, Ben, you ever run sprint? When was the last time you sprinted?
Yeah, I used to sprint. Well, I used to run track. I used to run 100 and long jump all through high school.
How fast?
I have a video.
My PB on 100 was 10:76.
Holy shit!
That's fast.
Yeah, but the problem is I got screwed because when we went for nationals, there were 5 guys that all smidged me, and they only have 4 in their lineup for the age group.
Oh, okay.
So I was literally 1 outside. There were like 3 black guys that ran like 10.6, and I was 10:75.
What is it?
Did you see?
Shit. Yeah, okay. 1 sec. Is that Chris on the far left?
No, that's my buddy who's still running.
That's right. Okay, yeah. You're right behind him. That's not bad.
Fuck those 8-year-olds.
Yeah. We don't let nobody win.
But no, we got a track literally at the end of the road here is the school where my stepson goes.
Yeah.
And when I moved over here and I downsized a little bit last summer, my wife and I would go over to the track 3 times a morning, and I went back to my drills. I wanted to do cardio, but outside because it's nice weather here. Yeah. So I'd get out there about 5:30 in the morning before, like as the sun was coming up, and I would do sprint drills for my cardio.
Huh. I haven't sprinted in forever. I'm too scared to tear something. If you slept like shit during prep, so 4 or 5 hours, and you need to wake up to do fasted cardio to be on schedule, do you get up and do it, or you try and get more rest?
Get up and do it.
Yeah, that's been happening to me all fucking week, actually. I've been going to bed at like 2, 3 in the morning and then getting up at like 7. So
yeah, nap in the day or no?
You know what, man? I always want to, and
it also depends on the person's schedule. Like, if you don't work or like something, just sleep in, do your cardio at fucking 10 a.m. Like, I mean, who cares?
Well, that's what he's saying. Like, if he wants to stay on schedule, right? Oh. So he's like, I got to get up and do my shit. And I'm thinking what Ben's thinking, like, because I used to in off season, if it happened to me, I would just take a nap in the middle of the day, right? I just don't have the time anymore, man. It's like I'm going from one thing to another, like. So I've been running.
If you're in a prep, you just have to get on with it, right? Yeah. If you're in off season, that's when you can adjust it and you have a bit more.
I don't find I need very much sleep during prep. I don't know what it is, but like I can get away with like 5-6 hours at the most, and I feel fucking fine. Where in the off season, if I slept 5-6 hours, I would be fucking dead. But like
dead, yeah.
in the prep, I can go to bed at 1, 2 and get up at 6, 7. I feel pretty much fine, and that's not even with napping. Like I do nap, but the days I don't, I still feel fine. But yeah, I mean, but off season, I'm fucking like 8-10 hours of sleep. I'm still tired,
Yeah, no, I noticed the same thing, but I think it's like I still get tired, but I just push through and do it anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Let's see here. Did you guys look at any of these or no? Do you feed your body after having sex? Is it a workout or not?
Well, I feed my body every 2.5 hours. So
if it's time to eat, yeah.
Yeah, when it's time to eat, it depends. Yeah.
If it's bedtime, I'm just rolling over and going to sleep though. Fuck.
Yeah, of course.
I'm so sleepy afterwards. I'm like, oh, I'm not moving.
Yeah, I never have sex that time though, because Melissa goes to bed way earlier than me. Mm-hmm. So like I'm always like the time I have sex is always between like my 4th and 5th meal, because that's when she goes to bed. So like I can finish up, I can like, you know, relax for a bit, wait till she falls asleep, and then I can get up and eat my 5th meal. It's great for me.
Wait a minute, me and Luke had this conversation, so I need to bring it back up because I need to.
No, you go and wash. You go and fucking wash, Fouad, before you bring that. I know what you're going to ask. You get up and you wash it.
Ian,
wash it, then go back to bed.
Let me ask the question before you fucking answer for Ian. Do you ever have sex in the middle of the night, or is it only before she goes to bed?
No. I like when we started dating, maybe in the middle of the night, but no, not anymore. No.
Okay, so let's say if you can remember back then, after you had sex in the middle of the night, let's just say like 3 or 4 in the morning, right? Mm-hmm. Do you get up and wash your junk, or do you just roll over and go to sleep?
I roll over and go to sleep.
Yeah, see, that's a real man.
My junk? What do you mean? My wife's box is clean. I'm not too worried about fucking, you know, like. I might like get up and take a piss and like, you know, if I got like fucking
wipe it off a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, if I got some juices on me, like wipe it off a bit, then I'll fucking go back to bed. I mean, that's it. I'm not like hopping in the shower at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'll shower in the morning.
Yeah. Luke was like, I wash it in the sink. I'm like, hey, you wash it in the sink? You're pulling it over onto the sink and like.
I used to brush my teeth in his fucking sink.
My dick is really way too fucking short because I can't get that far into the sink.
Yeah, I'm like, how big is your fucking
Wait,
yeah.
He couldn't reach his fucking sink. He was like 5'6".
That's what I'm saying.
No way. He must have had a little secret step. Yeah. He had a secret stool under the sink that he
said to me he would have like he said he would have like I think he said he had a face cloth or something there, or a cloth of some sort, and he would wipe himself and clean it up. And I'm like, dude, fuck that. It's 3 in the morning or 4 in the morning. I'm going back to bed. Because I think the reason it came up is because I said I shower in the morning before I go do cardio.
Yeah.
And he said, why do you shower in the morning for cardio? I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I had sex in the middle of the night. And I'm like, I want to be clean before I leave. Yeah. And he's like, you don't clean yourself right after sex? And I'm like, no, I'm fucking tired.
The only time I would was like maybe if I'm having like fucking period sex or something, I'd go wipe myself.
Hang on. Also, the caveat to this, knowing Luke, he was fucking him up the ass.
Well, yeah, that's a little different. Maybe I don't want to go to bed with a nugget on my junk.
Yeah, then you might want to give it a wash.
Like Luke's go-to was the back door. You know,
yeah, you might want to clean that off a little bit. Yeah, it's a little different. How often does your fucking wife know you're talking like this on this show?
Me?
Yes, you.
Oh my man, you should. I talk way worse than this at home. You crazy?
So, okay, I got to ask you now. How often are you having period sex?
Not very often, but I mean, you have to think. I mean, for a long time when Melissa was like in competitive mode, she didn't have her period very often, right?
That's true.
But I mean, no, I mean, recently we're on like a fucking hot streak. I mean, we've been having sex like once to twice a day, every day for the last like month or two.
What the fuck is that about?
I don't know, man. I just want to fucking bang like crazy, and she's on board, and it's just been great. But I mean, this is abnormal. I mean, like usually we're not like a 10 times a week kind of couple. I mean, we might be like a 2 to 4, you know, and we're on like a fucking 10 to 15 a week streak.
I've been with Summer for 13 years, and we go through like peaks and valleys like that too, right?
Yeah.
And as a guy, every time it happens, I'm like, I always trying to figure out the formula. Like, why is this happening? Like, why is this happening? And how do I make it re-happen again?
I think a big part of this too is I think there's a combination. I mean, I think Melissa was in a pretty shitty headspace for a while after that, like Arnold, and she gained a bunch of weight. And like, you know, when you're a female and you like gain a bunch of weight, you don't feel sexy. You don't want to get naked. You don't want to have sex as much. And then I think now she started to lose a bit of weight. She's been in the gym. She feels really good about herself. And then like, plus I'm like pumped up on fucking prep drugs, you know? So you get that combination of like her starting to feel better about ourselves. We're in a good spot, like, you know, in a relationship development. And then you just like kind of combine all that. And then you're just like fucking like jackrabbits, you know?
Yeah. I saw her. You had her in the gym squatting like 5 plates on the fucking machine squat.
Yeah. I mean, she didn't want to do that. She was doing 3 or 4 plates for like good deep reps, and then I had the 5 on, and I was like, fucking give her a go, you know? And she's like, no. I'm like, just fucking do it. Like, what's the worst that can happen? You fucking fall, like, big deal.
You know what I loved about it though is her caption. Her caption was like basically telling everybody to go fuck themselves.
Yeah,
she's
like shameless. I mean, like, who fucking cares? She had a good time. Like, I mean,
well, because I watched their podcast sometimes. Believe it or not, the Fire in Paradise or whatever it's called, or Paradise on Fire.
I've never watched it. I won't lie.
I just wanted to check it out. I wanted to see what it's about because Bumstead fascinates me. It's just like I'm like, what's this guy going to talk about? I want to know what he's going to talk. And then first, he's the one episode I caught. They were talking about how to pick up chicks.
Yeah.
And it was the worst fucking advice I'd ever heard. And it's only shit that works if you look like Chris Bumstead.
Yeah. Chris's perspective is so skewed, man. Like,
it's so fucked up.
Chris literally has girls in his DMs that'll like message him like tens that'll be like, I want to suck your dick right now. Like, I want your dick in my butt right now. Come over and have sex with me. And these are girls that like most guys would never in their wildest dreams ever think about getting with. And they're like in the hundreds, just like up in his DMs, like, please fuck me, you know?
And I think it's skewed the way he thinks of fucking.
Of course it's skewed, yeah.
Because he's trying to give advice on his podcast. I'm listening to this shit, right? Me and my wife are sitting there listening to it. And I'm like, let's see what kind of advice he's going to give people.
Chris could go up to a girl and fucking fart and still have sex with them.
That's what he said. So he goes up and he says, you know what I do? He's like, sometimes I just go up and make fun of them.
Yeah.
And your sister was like what? And he goes, well, like if she's wearing a pair of shorts, I'll be like, did you get those in the Lost and Found? And I'm like, if a normal guy tried to do that, she'd be like, what the fuck?
Well,
and she'd walk away.
Chris also doesn't go to a gym where 99% of the people don't know who he is.
Yeah.
You know, especially like when you got the fucking Gymshark contract and all, every girl wears fucking Gymshark now. Like all these girls know who Chris is. If you go in there, you're 99 times out of 100, they already follow you on Instagram. They already knew who you are. Yeah. You know, it doesn't matter what you say at that point, you know?
I think irrespective of his contracts and everything, even if he'd never been a successful, famous bodybuilder,
he's still gorgeous.
He's still a good-looking dude. He walks into any bar, that, you know.
Before he was famous, you know, like famous, when he was went to college, I mean, before he was a pro or anything, and he went to Dalhousie, I mean, it was no different, you know. I mean, it was the exact same thing. I mean, he'd go to a bar and girls would throw themselves at him. I mean, they always have.
Yeah, I think he needs to work on his relationship advice because I'm like, he needs to know that the rest of us like can't get away. Yeah, us normal sevens, we can't get away with that shit. Like, anyway.
Melissa say, did you tell me?
Sorry. That's why I brought it up. I was listening to one episode they did, and she was talking about how, and this really shocked me because Melissa doesn't strike me as an insecure person or a shy person. And I don't know her that well. It's just the way, like, when I think of her online, she doesn't strike me as that kind of person.
Sure.
And she was talking about how she's scared to post sometimes because she doesn't like getting negative comments and people talking shit. And I'm like, she never struck me as that kind of person. So when she posted that and kind of left that caption, I was like, that's good. You know, she's like, basically.
I think a big thing for her, especially because for her specifically, she takes a lot of pride in maintaining a lot of femininity. I mean, you still look at Melissa, she doesn't have any androgen side. She's very, very beautiful, you know?
Yeah.
She doesn't look like a lot of the figure girls do. And I mean, that's because she's never pushed the drugs even remotely. I mean, like 10 milligrams of Anavar, she's like going fucking buck wild, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's something she takes a lot of pride in. And then when, you know, she would post a picture or do an interview or something and people would be like, oh, it looks like a fucking dude or blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like, those are the kind of comments when it's something especially she took a lot of pride in and like really maintaining that really fucking ate her up inside. You know, it's like the one thing that like, you know, you really are trying to hold on to. And then when you're getting someone like shitting on you for that, you're like, what the fuck, man? You know, and whether there's validity to, I mean, we all know how YouTube is just fucking cancer, you know, but I mean, it's still when you hear that and you hear it, you know, one time a week or, you know, once every now and then on these comments, you start to believe it and you're like, fuck, you know, like I don't want to post because maybe this is what people really see me like, you know?
Yeah. But I think that to the average guy, like, honestly, man, this has happened to me. I've shown like the average guy, like a photo of a girl with like just a little bit of delt maybe.
And they think she's fucking
and they're like, oh, she looks like a dude. And I'm like, all I see is a little bit of shoulder. What are you fucking talking about?
I know.
So there's nothing Melissa can do to escape that because average.
She's not naive to the reality of, you know, people's skewed perceptions like that. And obviously from people within the industry, you know, you're not going to get those kind of comments about someone like her. And it is people outside, but I mean, it's still to her, these are the people that you encounter in day-to-day life, you know, the people that you go and see at Loblaws or that you see at the gym for the most part. These are these normal people that she's afraid are viewing her in that light. And that was like her biggest worry, you know?
How old is Melissa? How old are you guys? 29. Yeah, it took me, you know what, man, maybe it's just a time thing because I felt like that for a long time, right? Like I would go to the grocery store and I used to tell my wife, like I would wear a hoodie and I'd be like, people can't tell I'm big, right? You know, like, it's like, are you fucking stupid? You weigh 290 pounds. Like,
yeah.
But I would think I was hiding in like a hoodie.
I
right?
say this all the time.
Yeah. It took me like till I was like 35 before I was just comfortable in my own skin.
Yeah.
I was like, this is who I am.
We had this conversation about like comments and people on social media.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, you guys get it way more than I do, but you can have, say, 200 comments and 198 of them are like, you look insane, bro. You look crazy. And you'll get 2 that just are completely irrelevant, don't go with the trend and just want to shit on you. And they're the ones that get in here way more. You list like, it shouldn't be the case, right? But it's just human nature. You listen to those, like, I ignore the 198, you look crazy, you look great. And those 2, I'm like, I have to fight them out, you know?
I found the best solution for that. Instagram has a restrict button now. And I don't know how long it's been there, but I found it like, I don't know, a few weeks ago. It's literally my favorite button because you can restrict the person so they can't comment, but they think they can comment. So like I have to approve their comment. So like if some douchebag comes on and says, you suck, instead of blocking them now, I just restrict their comment. So the next time they come on, they comment, they think they're being a smartass, but nobody can see their comment.
Yeah.
You know, it's the best feature ever. So anyway, going back to what you're saying though.
But sorry, I'll interject you really quick. And that's when you said about getting comfortable in your own skin thing. I think that's the place where Melissa has finally achieved. And then that just kind of comes full circle into like thus having lots of good sex and stuff like that. I think that's, you know, she's finally attained that place, you know, where she feels good and she feels sexy and, you know, she is in a good place, whether she had lost no weight or not. Yeah. You know, it's just she is happy in her own skin. You know, and I think that's really what's, you know, translated into that.
You know what sucks about the being happy in your own skin thing? It's like you have to work at it. Yeah. Like there was a period of time between 30 and 35 where I thought I was happy in my own skin, then I would be like not happy in my own skin. Yeah. And it's like something you have to keep working towards. And eventually I was like I said, it took me till I was like 35 before I was like, okay, this is who I am. Yeah. Which sounds insane because you chose to look like this, right? Yeah. Like I had a therapist to tell me one time, I see a sports psychologist. And I was like, I don't like it when people stare at me. Like, it makes me feel uncomfortable. It makes me feel anxious. He's like, do you know what you look like? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, well, how the fuck are people not going to stare at you? He's like, and why are you doing this if you don't want people to stare at you? Mm-hmm. He's like, you don't look normal. He's like, you have a mohawk. You weigh 290 pounds. And, you know, it's not. He's like, you're not making sense. He's like, if you don't want people to look at you, go do something. You know what I mean? Like, it's really weird.
My answer to this is what I think. Well, certainly what I do, especially because I've got all this junk going on, right? Yeah. I'm controlling the narrative. So I assume people are going to look and judge me, right? Yeah. Yeah. That's just my default. I think I'm going to get judged no matter what I like, whether I bodybuild or not. So, okay, fuck it. You're going to look at what I tell you to look at. You're going to look at the stupid fucking hair, the bandana, the earring. Like, this is, I'm controlling what I can control now.
Are you controlling it, are you controlling it,
yeah.
Or are you deflecting attention to something else?
Either which way, I'm just saying, like, where it stems, because I'm talking, like, stemming from when I'm, like, 11, 12. That's probably where my, like, insecurity, confidence got real knocked, right? Because up to when I was in, like, primary school or whatever you guys call it, elementary school. Yeah. Your brain doesn't operate that way, or mine didn't. It was only once I started getting like 11, 12, I started becoming more like self-aware, self-conscious. Yeah. And then that spiraled into this big thing. And now I'm like, well, when I became an adult and had money, I could get tattoos. I can now control what I want.
So your philosophy, so you don't like people staring at you, that's what you're saying? Yes or no?
I assume when I walk into the room, it's almost like I'm in the Truman Show, right?
Okay, so if you think people,
and they're like, oh shit, everyone's like looking and laughing at me, kind of
so
thing.
your solution to that is I'm going to get a neck tattoo, and then that forces them to look at that and not at me.
Yes, and yeah, kind of, but it's not a conscious thought process, right?
I get it. Yeah, it's a subconscious.
I go back and I go, oh, I think I act the way I do because of that, right?
Yeah.
I think I made the choice I do. I don't literally sit down and game plan it. I go, okay, fine.
No, I get it.
I get this here.
Yeah.
But I think certainly where I grew up and then didn't have the confidence, and then, like I said, I assumed just everyone was looking at me and judging me in a negative light. An element of me to try and give myself more confidence is to kind of take back control of that, you know?
Yeah, I'm the opposite of you guys. I want people to stare at me. And if I go out and people aren't staring at me, I think I've shrunk.
Really?
Yeah, if I go out and I feel like there's not eyes on me, it panics me.
See, I consider me and you a lot alike mentally.
Yeah.
But that's why that is not, that's why that confusing.
For me, I have an extreme fear of like being normal, you know, like this is like a thing that's like terrifies me of like not just being like a normal guy, which is ridiculous. I mean, I know I'm not a normal person. Even if I didn't have the muscle, I know I'm not like, you know, I mean, but even if I am, being normal is fine, whatever. I mean,
we're opposite. I want to be normal. Like when I go sit down, the only time I don't want to be normal is in the gym. But when I go to the Italian restaurant on the weekend with my wife, I want to sit down, have a glass of wine, and feel like I'm like everybody else.
See, but I disagree in the sense. I mean, this might sound ridiculous, but being the standout guy, especially with muscles, reaps benefits.
Like
you know, when you go out to restaurants or you go out to bars, I get perks. Like I get to the bars, the bouncers give me free drinks. You know, you get in for free. You might go to the restaurant, the guy will strike up conversation, might give you a free dessert, or you know, I mean, the amount of free shit and benefits I've got from being like the standout looking person is fucking insane. And it doesn't even just translate to food. I mean, anything, like guys that I've met just in passing, you know, from being the big guy, and I'd meet them in a supermarket and they're like, oh, blah, blah, blah. I do house painting. Like if you ever need some house painting, hit me up. Paint my entire house for fucking free. Like the amount of perks I've got from stand out is ridiculous.
I'm going to say something that's probably going to rub some people the wrong way. But it's a part of the racist element of this show that I always try and implement wherever I can. Do you think the blonde hair, blue eyed, fucking, you know, kid next door, but you're massive, makes it less intimidating? Because I'm like,
I'm a more approachable looking person for sure. I mean, you know, I think even though I'm like big and scary, I don't look like a mean person.
But you're not big and scary. That's my point. You're big, but you're not scary. Like your face looks normal.
Sorry. Yes, that's what I'm saying. I'm a more approachable looking, even though I'm large.
Yeah.
I'm saying the big and scary from my physique, not my face.
Yeah.
You know, I think I do look like a reasonably approachable person. You know, like I'll be with Melissa, who's a normal, attractive looking girl. So I mean, you know, I think it makes me more approachable in that sense. Yeah. Maybe, I mean, you know, if I was a 300-pound black guy, I mean, obviously, maybe that might not be the same. I mean, we're throwing the race thing here.
We entered total racist category at that one. At this point.
That's where you're going with it. And I think you're right. I mean,
I meant more myself. I'm the terrorist guy with the fucking beard.
Anything that's non-white hair, you know, blonde hair, blue eyes. You know, we're talking even Ben. Ben's a little Asian. You know, you're fucking, you know, whatever you are, Arab of some kind.
Yeah. I mean, Ben's not threatening either. I think Asians are very non-threatening as well.
Yeah, but I'm saying I think Ben is more threatening looking with his look than I am with mine.
Well, because of the neck tattoos and shit. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. I think going back to what you were saying, Ben, about trying to draw attention and controlling it, I think I do something a little different. When the doctor asked me that shit and I was thinking about it, I thought it's almost like I'm battling something in me on purpose. So it's almost like my brain is going, I don't want people to look at me. So I'm like, no, fuck that. This is what I'm doing. You know what I mean?
So, okay, you're confronting your own demon.
Yeah. It's like my way of being the guy that I want to be, but maybe can't be. Like, you know, like, how can I explain it? Like it's instead of hiding away and being scared, I'm like, no, I'm just going to put it I'll put all my chips on the table. And they can just stare and I'll fucking deal with it.
Yeah.
And so I think it's maybe a harder approach, I guess.
So what about the staring do you not like? Because you have to realize when people are staring at you, it's because of something you've worked to achieve. Like, it's like,
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, mine came from an insecurity from when I'm like 11 and 12. So I wasn't big. I just assumed people were going to stare and judge me. I just assume it's a negative judgment.
But see, then
right?
this is also probably why you started lifting, though, because this insecurity probably led you into lifting to combat it. So it's like, why would you not
for sure
stare at the muscles you have now, you know?
But it's also like, it's the same thing. I'm like, okay, I was 135 pounds when I came out of university. And I'm like, if I get to 200 pounds, that'll solve all my insecurities. You get to 200 pounds, you don't think any fucking different.
No, of course it does. Makes it worse.
And just, I got up to 290 and I still feel like an insecure. I feel small still. So it doesn't actually fix anything. But yeah, that's certainly why I get down. That's how I got down that path for sure.
I don't think mine started because of insecurity. I think you know what? Why don't I like people staring at me? I don't know. I don't want to feel, I'm not like you that way. Like, I want to feel normal. I want to be just one of the pack until I'm in the gym. Then I'm like, no, I want it all now. Now I guess I want to.
You don't want like the average person to recognize your hard work?
No, I don't care.
You don't care?
It doesn't do anything for me. Like, when the guy at the gas station comes up, he's like, hey man, you look awesome. I'm like, I appreciate it, but it doesn't, like, it's not why I'm doing it. Like, I'm not looking for it.
I agree, and that's not why I do it. I think if that's why people are doing it, they should.
Okay, well, no, that's the wrong way to put it, but not why, but I guess I'm not like, it doesn't.
It's not a driving factor for you.
Not in any way. Like, this is strictly like something I chose for myself. I think if it had anything to do with the public, I would have done something completely different. Because the public is like.
See, I think mine's driven differently in that I use it as a gauge out of insecurity. And that's why I was saying when people don't look at me, it panics me. And I think I use it more as a gauge of where I am with my physique, you know, like the more people are staring, the bigger I'm getting. That's good, you know? So it's like, I think I use it as a gauge and that's really what it's for. It's not more because I want people to stare because it like fuels my ego. It's like, it's from my own insecurities that I'm like, if no one's looking at me, I can't be that big, you know?
So I've got a question then, if that's where you're, and it might be going down a complete rabbit hole, hypothetically speaking, but when you retire, when you're say 45, 46, 47, and you then downsize, how do you cope with that then? Because you're now not going to be 280 pounds walking around.
And I think I've talked about this on this podcast or another, but I mean, obviously it's going to be an identity crisis at some point. I mean, you know, but I think the biggest thing is to have something else to really divert your energy into, you know, from either an athletic or a business or something standpoint that makes you feel that reward in another sense. And I mean, you know, I mean, for me, like, I mean, give an example, like I was saying, I used to, you know, run before, like, you know, okay, I can lose a bunch of weight and use losing the weight as a goal to be a better runner. I mean, you know, you can transfer it into something else. It's like, okay, if I get down to, you know, 210, I'll be a lot faster, you know. Obviously, I'm not going to have a competitive track career, but just for something to divert my energy into and enjoy and focus and try and get better at, you know, and then I can use that weight loss goal to divert into that, you know.
It's funny though, you know, Ben, you say that, and I'm saying I don't like the public staring at me. This is the really, really fucked up dichotomy that's in my head. I don't want the public to stare at me, but I also don't want to retire and be 200 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really fucking weird.
Because you know what? I saw yesterday a picture of some German bodybuilder who's really good. I can't remember his name now. I think he's just like one of these big, freaky, classic guys. And he's got Dennis Wolfster behind him, who is a shadow.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Dennis Wolf, as he stands right now, you show him to my parents, he looks fit and healthy.
Great. Yeah, he looks great.
He looks very healthy.
Yeah.
But he's not the Dennis Wolf I know.
Yeah. He's just like a normal guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like it's kind of like when I see this. I hope this doesn't sound really bad. Like when I see Dave Palumbo sitting at his desk, I'm like, Dave Palumbo used to be 300 pounds of muscle, right? And obviously he can't stay that way. He's done the right thing. He shrank down and he's healthy and all that. But I don't want to be sitting at this desk at 200, 180 pounds, 200 pounds. Like I like, it's fucking weird. I like being big, but I don't want to be noticed.
So you're gonna do a Marcus rule then?
How does that make sense, Ian?
Yeah, because I mean, you're doing something. It's more intrinsic than the external recognition of it. I mean, you might not necessarily want people to stare and you care about the external recognition, but you internally obviously feel some way about having muscularity and being a certain way in the gym and feeling powerful. And I mean, there's things that go in it which are personal within you that are completely set aside from getting external validation, right?
Yeah. That's one. That's one that's been really tough to let go of. The being powerful.
Yeah.
It's fucking hard. One of the biggest things, and you guys are going to experience it one day. It's hard. One day, Ben, you're not going to be able to squat 6 plates, and that's
okay. Whoa. You need to take this into fucking context, man. Because you're saying don't feel powerful. You're still stronger than 99.99999% of the fucking planet.
I know, but we don't compare ourselves to 99.9%.
Yeah, you compare it to our own best or other top bodybuilders. I get it. But when you go to any fucking gym, you're the strongest guy 9.9 times out of 10.
Not always anymore, dude. There's a lot of things I lift and I'm like, oh fuck, this is embarrassing.
But to take Fouad's point, there will be a point where he's not even that, right? We'll all be 55, 56, and we're going to be curling 5-pound dumbbells.
But what I'm saying is that the strength. Well, to my experience, I mean, it could be different for other people, but the strength goes before the physique.
Yeah.
And that's been hard for me because you don't think of it that way. You think it's kind of all going to go at the same time. And it doesn't. Like my strength has started to decline from like probably 37. And
that really fucks me over because I'm more well known for my strength than I am my physique, so I'm really fucked.
Yeah, once you lose your strength, you're fucked.
For me, being known as one of the really, really strong bodybuilders, I could care less how strong I am.
That's not true. You only say that because you can right now.
No, honestly, man, I could go to the gym right now and be in the gym and bench press 2 plates, and I could not give a flying fuck like who saw.
But is that because you can bench 5 plates, or is it just because you don't care?
It is completely meaningless to me. It's completely utilitarian. Like it's like function over everything.
I don't buy it. No,
man. I literally, and that's never been like a big thing for me. Like, I like to do it to post on Instagram because I know heavy lifts get views. I get that. But I mean, it's not something that like.
Okay, wait a minute. You're not benching 5 plates to get views. You're benching 5 plates because it feels good.
Yeah.
I've seen you bench 5 plates. It's like perfect form. Fucking 8-10 reps.
I can incline bench 5 plates for reps, no problem, or flat it for fucking 15. I mean, I know that, but I mean.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, you're not doing that shit for views. You're doing that shit because you like that feeling, that power.
Well, okay, but it's also because that is the weight I need to utilize to get a proper working set out with my physique. I mean, but I'm saying it's not. If that was 3 plates or 1 plate or 2 plate, and it was just as difficult, it would be meaningless to me.
Okay, so I'll give you a hypothetical. Tomorrow, you're like, just magically, that's the most you can bench is 2 plates. You can still keep your physique, but your max bench is 2 plates.
I mean, obviously, the first thing would be I would be vastly concerned how I lost so much strength in a day, and I would probably go check to see if I didn't have fucking cancer or something. Yeah. But I mean, once I got a clean bill of health, I mean, if I was still making physique progress, it would be honestly completely meaningless to me. I mean, the only thing that would bother me is that like I wouldn't want to train with like my buddies and be like, having to strip off 3/4 of the weight between sets. It's like that would be weird. But I mean, I don't care. Like it's not like something that I like care to like, it doesn't really give me much,
It's funny you said that. I went to train with Dorian and Quint. And Quint is just like, he's young. He doesn't have any fucking injuries or nothing. He's just benching 4 plates like it's fucking nothing. And I'm like, every time it was my turn to go, we had to peel a plate off. I was like, that's never, ever been the case. Like, I've always been able to at least keep up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fucking bitch. That's a bitch. Anyway, we'll take a few more, guys. I know you guys probably got to run, so we'll do a couple more. Would you rather have to cover everything you eat in a ton of Splenda or a ton of salt? Oh, you know what? Before I answer this, and that's retarded anyway, I'd rather cover everything with Splenda for sure. What do you guys think?
Splenda or salt? If you had to do a vast over all foods, I would pick Splenda.
Yeah, right. Okay, so somebody asked me why I post the full day of eating thing was fun to do, but the biggest annoyance is like in the comments section, everyone's trying to fix my diet.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I didn't ask for anybody's advice, so I don't know why anybody's trying to fix my diet. Like, but people are like, why don't you use sugar instead of Splenda? And I'm like, isn't that an obvious answer? Is
Yes.
that it's an obvious answer, right? It's just a calorie thing, right? Isn't that what?
That's it.
Well, somebody's trying to tell me that the calories in sugar is the same as the calories in Splenda.
I'm not so sure about that.
And I'm like, it takes 2 teaspoons of sugar to get 1 packet of Splenda.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure the calories are more than like, there's like 1 calorie in a packet of Splenda, I think, or something like that.
Nothing. I mean, yeah, you could go like, if they want to get fucking sciencey, but like, you know, with fucking insulin release or some bullshit. I don't know, maybe. But I mean, like, at the end of the day, there's obviously significantly less in the Splenda, yes.
Does it annoy when you guys post? Does it annoy you if you guys post a meal or something and people are like trying to fix it or change it?
I've never had that too much. I mean, the only time I ever get is I did some of those full day of eatings with muscle and strength, you know?
Yeah.
And I did an entire day and I had 0 veggies in any of my meals. And it was just like, it was like 200 comments of being like, not a single veggie was harmed in making of this video.
I know.
But like no one like, you know, I mean, it's no one like ripped me apart. It was just people being like, why doesn't this guy eat vegetables? You know?
But I get frustrated at the like, it's like, I'm not trying to get advice. Like I'm not posting my day of eating to get advice. I'm simply showing you what I do. You can take it or leave it. I don't need you to fix it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like I'm like, everybody tell me what I'm doing wrong.
Well, the thing that I don't understand with comments like this is, does someone really think, like in their heart of hearts, that you're going to read that comment and be like, you know what? He's fucking right. You know? You know what? I'm going to change it because this fucking guy with 0 credentials, with 8 followers and no pictures said that I should eat fucking haddock instead of tilapia. Like, does he think that you as a top level pro bodybuilder are going to adhere to that just because he said it? Like, it really comes down to what is their motivation for that? Are they just doing it to be a smart ass? Do they really think that you're going to listen? Like, I just never really understand like the motivation behind comments like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the same thing. And like, yeah, I get people say it, but it's like the same thing of like, he would be good if he brought up his back or like needs to bring up, blah, 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 bring up your back. You're like, you think we don't fucking know?
Yeah, guy says, like, dude,
like if anyone knows my chest sucks, it's fucking me, you know? Like,
dude, I posted a photo the other day and the guy's like, if you just bring up your calves, everything will be perfect. And I'm like, I've been doing this for 20 years. I've been training my calves for 20 fucking years.
Yeah, no fucking shit. Yeah. Like,
it's not going to work. They're just not going to grow. Can you fucking just,
you know, it's like,
guys, I had a lot of people rip me for my my cardio recently because I have my cardio because I get my heart rate like decently high. Like I like it to be
like
between
how high? Like 130, 140?
It ranges between 140 and 160, right? In a whole session.
That's
but it generally sits around 145 average, I would say.
So what's wrong with that?
I just like feeling like I'm working, right, as well.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
People are like, you're going to be burning muscle. You're going to be doing, like, shouldn't you be doing this? I'm like, at the end of it, like, and also, that's another thing, because my calories have got very low at this point, right?
Yeah.
We were talking about this, and it's just, I'm just doing what my body's directing me, like, hey, this time around, it's being a bit more stubborn than normal, right? And my end goal is to get on stage in shape. My end goal isn't to have a perfect diet. Like the process is just whatever needs to get done to achieve that final look. In theory, I would be wanting to do less cardio and eat more food. That's how I set about entering every prep. I'd like to do minimal cardio and keep my food as high as possible. But guess what? My body's not playing ball, and I just have to dig a little deeper. So someone's like, oh, your calories are too low and your cardio is too high. I'm like, no, I'm just trying to get in shape I got 4 weeks left. I don't have time to play with. I got to drop a fucking hammer here. Like,
at the end
of the day,
what I mean?
Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. You don't.
You got to do 3 shake today, bro.
At the end of the day, the bro science works. That's how I tell everybody. You can fucking sit here and be like, oh, you shouldn't be doing so much cardio, or you shouldn't be eating fish, or you shouldn't you know what, man? That shit's bro science for a fucking reason. Because every time someone gets stuck, that's the shit they point to. As soon as someone starts doing one of these like modern day perfect diets, I don't have to do any cardio, I eat tons of fucking food, blah blah. As soon as their weight gets stuck, they're like, what are those guys over there doing?
I need a refeed.
Yeah,
that's the first one, right?
No, but I mean,
but then once push comes to shove, then they cut all their calories. And do
that's what I'm saying. Like once they get stuck, they're like, oh shit, what are the bros doing? Because those guys are shredded, and then they end up doing what we're doing anyway.
Right.
So
Well, that's what I said to Denise, there's something going on with my body, and I said this to you, like, ever since I had sepsis, something funky's been going on. I found it a little harder to get. I can get lean, but just to get conditions been harder than before. Well, if I just do more and eat less, at some point something's got to give, right?
That's
I've just got to outwork whatever problem I've got going on that's just stopping me to get that little bit sharper. I just got to do more.
In my mind, the right diet is the one that works the best and causes as little health problems as possible. Yeah. You know, that's it. I mean, whatever it needs to be, as little food as you need to eat, as much cardio as you need to do. I mean, it's completely irrelevant. You know, you just do what you need to do to accomplish a goal. That's it.
But like you said, you got these guys bragging, like you said, there's guys like, oh, I'm 250 pounds 1 week out or whatever it is. Or they're bragging like, oh, I only dieted on 20 minutes of cardio 3 times a week. I'm like, well, that's great, but some people need more. Like, in theory, there's a nice way to do things, right? Yeah. But sometimes
theory doesn't always mean practicality. I mean, it's, you know, I mean, I've done 2 preps, you know, I've done preps where I've had to fucking do an hour and a half of cardio every day and I had trouble getting in shape. I've done ones where I did fucking 10 minutes a day and I got peeled out of my mind. I mean, you know, I mean, it's different. Like you said, your body acts differently sometimes. I mean, you know, and there's also people that need a shit ton of cardio and need no food. I mean, it's, you know, people can't sit there and preach about like, this is the way you should do it. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. It's like, well, you're not in my fucking body. You don't know. And maybe if I tried what you're doing, I tried to keep as much food in as I tried to do as a little cardio, but that wasn't working. So we're pushing the envelope more because I need to be in shape in 4 weeks, you know?
I love what you just said about theory not matching reality, because it fucking doesn't. It usually doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
There's a lot of shit that sounds so perfect. Oh, if you do things this way, you could train twice a day. If you eat enough calories, and you're never going to overtrain as long as you sleep and eat enough. And I'm like, that's all fucking bullshit. I'm sorry. You're going to fucking overtrain.
100%.
If you train twice a day, you're probably going to fucking break down.
Yeah, you can't do that for long.
If you don't cut your calories enough, you're probably going to be fat on stage. Like there's the theory is not always perfect, man. And usually the people that spout those fucking theories are people that aren't usually putting it into practice. Because people that have done a number of preps, like multiple preps, know that they have to do things that don't sound the best on paper. Yeah. Sometimes to get shredded.
Yeah.
So thoughts on having a cheat meal twice per week once during the week and one on the weekend, getting ready for a show. Carbs are low, around 150 grams the rest of the week, and up to an hour of cardio daily. Awesome content, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so.
Okay, whoa. You're doing an hour cardio and eating that little carbs and you're doing 2 cheat meals a week. Why don't you just fucking eat more every day?
Because he wants to have the 2 cheat meals. I know exactly what he's doing.
Okay,
he wants to have 2 cheat meals, even though it's not as beneficial.
He's dieting hard, doing cardio so he can get the cheat meals.
Which is not as beneficial to your body.
No, I agree.
He's like, how can I work it out so that I can have a burger twice a week?
Yeah,
that's basically.
I disagree with the mentality in practice. Sure, yeah. I mean, like we said before, I mean, anything works if it works. I mean, if you're getting leaner and the look is good and you're not behind and you're getting results from it, it's fucking fine. It doesn't really matter.
But that's not true though, because that's what he's saying, right? Because like he could be getting results from this program, but one, he's probably doing too much cardio. Like he doesn't have to be doing it this way. Like he could probably retain.
No, but that's what I said initially. Yeah. I said, you know, there is obviously a more optimal way to do it.
Yeah.
But if this is like the end all be all for him, he needs to have his 2 cheat meals a week. Then I mean, if it's working, it's fucking working. Who cares? But I mean, that's right, obviously that's not the ideal way to do it, in my opinion. No.
Like for me, like I can relate this to my diet. So I have 1 cheat meal every Saturday night, but I have my calories set at a certain amount that I can lose weight through the week. Now, as soon as I don't start losing weight through the week, or I feel like I'm getting too flat during the week, I'll just drop that cheat meal on the weekend, and I'll make sure my carbs are a little higher throughout the week.
Yep.
So that I'm losing weight like a little more steadily. Right now, it's like I'm not setting up my calories in the week based on having the cheat meal on the weekend.
Which sounds like he's doing that.
Which sounds like what he's doing. He's like
let's suffer as much as we can during the week so we can reward ourselves with cheat meals.
That's right. And that's the opposite. That's the opposite way you should be doing it.
Yeah.
Is it good to have a rest day after your cheat meal, or go work out the second day? Or in other words, cheat meal before the workout or after it? So I think he's saying, like, if he cheats on Saturday night, should he have a rest day on Sunday, or should he just take a rest?
I mean, that's not like a one-size-fits-all answer, in my opinion. It really depends where your physique is. I mean, if you're super duper flat and, you know.
Oh, wait, sorry. And actually, I think he's saying is it better to have a cheat meal on your day?
Your training day, your rest day?
It's like two questions in one. Yeah. It's like, I think he's trying to figure out where to put his cheat meal. That's what I think he's really trying.
I tell you what, we've had this conversation before, actually. This here's what I do. I have someone train their largest body part. So if they, either back or legs, depending on which one they feel they really get the most out of. And then the next day I have them train. So they have their cheat meal that night. And then the next day I have them train their weak body part. So if their arms need bringing up or their chest sucks, that's what will come the day after the cheat. So they're utilizing it. They get that fullness and that carryover. That's what I do.
That makes sense. Okay.
That makes sense. And I think a lot of people do this too. Like, well, they'll do their cheat meal on the weak body part day, which is not, in my opinion, you're doing it the next day, which is the right way to do it. Yeah. Doing it the same day is not advantageous because those aren't taking any part in that workout.
Wait a minute though. No. What if you're okay? Wait a minute though, because if we take Ben's scenario and your scenario, Ian, what if your legs are your lagging body part and they're your biggest body part? Now what am I doing with my cheat meal?
Then same thing.
I give you a high carb day.
No, because you're saying put the lagging day after your cheat meal. But Ben's saying put the cheat meal on your biggest body part day.
Yeah, but it can be, it's not mutually exclusive. I mean, you could just do back or something that day and then do your legs the next day.
So you would always put the lagging body part the day after cheat.
Yes.
Ben, you too?
Yeah. The only environment which I wouldn't do is say they were pushing their food. I would give them a high day, say on the leg day all day, with a cheat meal at the end of the day. And then the lagging body part the next day, for instance.
Yeah.
Fucking cheat meal sounds so good right now. I'm fucking starving.
Though we've done well not to go down that rabbit hole of food.
Dude, we did a podcast like last week or the week before, me, Ben, and James, and I swear to God, I think we talked about food for like 45 minutes of it. Was
a bunch of hungry fucking dieting guys. Yeah.
Dude. Yeah. What does recovery day? No, let's skip that one. If you could pick one rep scheme to train for the rest of your life, what would it be? I'd say 8 to 12.
8 to 12.
Yeah. Okay. What numbers in your blood work do you look for when deciding when to come off or back on? Anybody? I would say
everything.
Well, everything, but I would say mainly kidneys probably the most important.
Kidney stuff, obviously your lipids are important. I mean, your fucking liver stuff is negligible, but still obviously should be in check. I mean, your kidneys is definitely up there.
I think your kidneys is probably the most important one. But before your kidneys show anything, you're going to get a bunch of others. Like my original blood works never showed anything on my kidneys, but they would show like liver enzymes are off or red blood cell count was high or cholesterol was off. If you're starting out, I would use those indicators before, because if you just focus on kidneys, if I look back at like my first 5 or 10 years of blood works, my kidneys were always fine.
Yeah.
My kidney levels didn't start to get elevated until like 12 or 13 or 14 years into the game. And then by then it's almost too late to start reversing it. So it depends where you are in your career, man. If you're starting out, you're probably not going to see very much change in your kidneys. So I would pay attention to other things. But the most important thing is actually to find a good doctor and have him go through this shit with you.
And if you're going to get blood work taken, don't train the night before or the morning of. Like, how many people come in and their kidney gone.
Sorry, Ben, do you mean to give blood or do you mean to get your blood tested?
If they're having their blood work taken, like tested,
yeah.
If you train the day before, you're going to throw out a bunch of numbers, especially your kidney values.
And same for hydration. You need to be well hydrated. That throws it off huge too.
Yeah. I always do 2 or 3 days off beforehand.
I do too. Yeah.
And then I always make sure I drink like 1.5 liters of water the morning of, because they tell you not to, but your kidney numbers are going to be fucked up.
They are. Yeah. Especially for someone that trains.
Yeah. My sweet smells like ammonia. Am I consuming too much protein? I don't know what sweet is. That must have been a
sweat.
It's a spell correction.
Well, this is you're right down this fucking.
That's what we discussed earlier. Yeah. We don't know, so we'll have to let you know when we figure it out. Oh, actually, Ben, you said it was ketones.
Yeah.
Quite possible.
Yeah.
Would you rather get kicked in the balls by your girl once a month or never be able to use condiments or spices on your food ever again?
Kicked in the balls once a month.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Once a month.
I literally I season all my food and use condiments like sriracha on everything. I'm not eating plain chicken with no seasoning every day just to get whooped in the balls once a month. Bro, you know I fucking enjoy that. I do that in sex anyways.
This tells you how aggressive Summer is, because Summer's going in, obviously, off that reaction. You know, someone's kicking him fucking hard in the balls. My wife, I feel, would be a bit like she'd hold back a little bit.
When was the last time either one of you got punched or kicked in the nuts?
Melissa accidentally hit me in the nuts with a spatula. Like she went to fake it and then overextended and gave me a fucking wallop with a wood spatula in the nuts. I don't know, within the last month, and it was more the startling of it that got me than the actual pain. But yeah, it doesn't feel good, obviously.
I don't know, man. It's been a long time since I fucking took any shot in the nuts of any sort. But
it's once a month. You could do 12 a year, and you eat 6 meals a day.
It's no Splendor.
Shots. It's 12.
That's no Splendor for that.
Think about
12 shots a year, or fucking 6 times 30, 300 meals a month, man.
Yeah, but think about how shredded. I would look like Roman Fritz. I'd be shredded.
6 times 30 is 300. I just did the worst math ever. That's 180, but yes.
Yeah. But think about it. Look at Roman Fritz, right?
Yeah.
That's why he's so fucking peeled all the time. No condiments, no spices, bland food. I would be like Roman.
You think that's why he's peeled? I disagree. He's peeled because he's fucking crazy as shit and he'll go fucking walk for 7 hours and fucking eat no carbs even in the off season, you know?
You think that's why?
He trains twice a day, every day. Yeah.
I know he does. He's the only one that could fucking do it too.
Yeah. But that's completely out of obsessive compulsive, like necessity in his mind, you know.
He started eating a lot more food as well, and he's still peeled.
Well, I asked him because we talked about it a couple of years ago, and he's like, he said something like, why can't I get bigger? I'm like, dude, your shit's too clean.
Yeah.
Like you're eating fucking plain rice cakes and fucking egg whites and chicken and shit, and that's it. You're not going to get big like that.
No.
So I think he hired Justin Compton.
He worked with Compton, yeah.
Yeah, and he gave him he's eating 1,000 grams of carbs a day and bagels and
full apple pies and fucking ice cream every day.
Yeah. And nothing happened. He got fuller, but he was still fucking peeled.
See, here's the thing though. I don't think he does it.
I worry about that too.
I think he's I ate the food, blah, blah, blah. But in his mind, he's too scared to eat that kind of food and he doesn't actually eat it.
Maybe, yeah.
We'd have to get Fouad, invite him to come and do an off season at your house and make sure just force him to eat all the fucking Ben and Jerry's and
he'll leave here fat after 2 weeks
and train once a day.
Yeah. No, I asked him to be on the podcast. I want to talk to him about this very thing because I know how obsessive compulsive he is about his numbers and getting all his nutrients right. And he's like, I'll come on the podcast, but I only want to talk about shoes. And I'm like, what? He's got a shoe fetish, about buying fucking Jordans and shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't think I can do a fucking hour podcast just about talking about shoes, but
let him have his shoes. Give him that as a bit, and then just
I'll sneak it in.
Yeah, exactly. Once you already got him on the show, he's fucked, you know.
Yeah. All right, we'll take one more.
Get a good one.
Oh God, another motivation. What's your motivation?
No, don't have fucking motivation.
What's your motivation and how do you stay disciplined? It's the fucking same answer.
Fuck this. Pick another one.
The answer's in the question.
Yeah.
What's your motivation and how do you stay disciplined?
Discipline is motivation.
Oh. Somebody said to me, somebody said something very commonsensical to me. I think I've said it in a podcast before. If you fucking like doing something, you don't need motivation. It's that simple. If you fucking hate going to the gym so much that you need to be motivated every day to go take up golf or some shit. You're in the wrong sport. I don't recall having to be that motivated to go train. I just want to go.
But even golf, if you turn golf into a profession, at some point you're gonna go.
No, but I mean those guys. Okay, like a golfer, he likes golfing, so he doesn't need motivation every day to go fucking drive balls.
No,
you know what I mean? I don't need motivation to go to the gym. I just like going to the fucking gym.
I understand what Ben's saying though, because obviously, anything that once it becomes a job, it becomes different. But I think it still was, you still got into golf with a foundation of passion. And that even when there's days that you're not necessarily super motivated to do it, that passion and that drive is still a characteristic within you that's always going to be there.
I 100% understand what Ben's saying too. Ben's saying there's going to be days where you're blah, I don't want to go. This is how much I like bodybuilding. Even on the days I don't want to go, I still want to go.
Yeah.
So if you don't like bodybuilding or don't like the gym so much that, like, 3 out of 4 days a week you don't want to go, it's probably not going to be your profession. You probably just do it as a hobby.
But see, this is why I'm limiting. When I was coaching over the last 2 months or so, I've limited now who I take on to competitive bodybuilders only, because it's not because I only want to deal with it. I can't generate motivation for you.
That's right. Yeah, people want you to tell them. Yeah,
I can show you. I can tell you what to eat, when to eat, what to eat next week, or what to take out, what cardio to do. I can't get you out of bed in the morning and make you go do that cardio. I can't make, when competitive bodybuilders have already decided that's what they're doing, right? They already have that intrinsic motivation. They just need the direction of how to go about it. Yeah. I know a bunch of people out here that I know, like, there's a couple of people I know who will only coach non-competitors because they find competitors hard work. I'm like, no, you just want an easy paycheck because you're not going to get any progress from those guys. And every month you just go through the motions, right? Because there's always an excuse. Oh, I was traveling, I had a meeting, I couldn't get my meals in, I was tired, the kids were... Competitive bodybuilders find a way, Like,
I mean, there's a mix for both. I mean, I've had some lifestyle clients that are the hardest working and get the best results. They just have no interest in competing. They just want to look good. I mean, I'm working with this guy right now that lives in New Jersey, and I mean, he literally, like, every week he follows the plan to a T. He changes exactly what I expect every single week. It's completely linear. I reduce the food. He changes by exactly what I expect. I increase it. He changes what I expect. He's the perfect client. And then I have tons of competitive clients who fucking are a goddamn, like, they have absolutely no drive whatsoever. And I'm like, why the fuck are you doing this? Every week it's something new. It's, oh, my, blah, blah, blah. Like, I missed this meal because I was this, or, oh, I was, was out of town, or, oh, I was like, you get the same thing from both. I mean, obviously, legally levels, it's going to be a variance, but I think there's going to be both in every world,
But as a coach, if I have a competitor that says to me, oh, hey man, I couldn't do this week, I couldn't do that week, I can go back to him and be like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, this is on you. You're not going to make it. If you keep on doing this, you need to sort your shit out. If I've got an office worker or a CEO come to me, he's like, hey man, so I got called away in business, and then the kids, and I had this, there's a part of me that goes, okay, I can't fucking hammer you.
See, I wouldn't hammer either one. I could give a fuck. When I was coaching people, no, seriously, I'm sorry. Hey, you know what? I'm being honest. I could give a fuck.
I give a fuck if someone's going to get on stage under my name. Under my name?
No.
I don't want to put someone...
No, Ben, hear me out for a second. It's not that I don't give a fuck about the person. I give a fuck about people as much as they give a fuck about themselves.
Yeah.
So if I'm coaching somebody and the guy's like, I fucking missed 2 training sessions and I fucking ate a pizza last night and I wasn't supposed to, I'm like, cool, message me next week when you get it right. The diet stays the same, training stays the same. When you nail it 100%, shoot me a message.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't give a shit. I'm not, whether you're a CEO and you just want to get shredded for a fucking wedding or a vacation, or whether you're a competitor trying to get ready for a show, if you can't do your shit, I'm not going to motivate you to do it.
No.
That's not my job. Like, I'm not going to yell at you. I'm not going to I don't care.
It also doesn't work because, I mean, you can say, and I have clients that, will say this, and, I can give them a motivational speech and they'll be like, oh, I'm all fired up. And then they'll fuck it up the next week the exact same.
Yeah.
I mean, having a very, acute motivational response doesn't translate into a chronic response, I mean, it needs to be within them. They can't be like, go watch a Zasny video and be motivated for the rest of your life,
This is why I'm saying, that's why I was saying at the beginning of this, it doesn't have anything to do with, like, whether you're a competitor or not a competitor. If you don't like what you're fucking doing, and I'm not saying you're having fun, it's amazing. I'm saying if you don't enjoy going to the gym, if you don't enjoy trying to change your body, if you don't enjoy the challenge, you're in the wrong fucking sport. Just do something else.
What I was saying, that it's with both ends, I mean, we're all get non-competitive clients who are very motivated and like the challenge.
Yeah.
More successful than some of my competitive clients will be.
Yeah, you can, because they like doing it. It's not about, for some people, success comes from fear. Like, for me, for a long time, people would ask me, well, why are you motivated to, or why are you disciplined, or why are you motivated to go to the gym every day and train? And I'd be like, because I don't want to fucking suck.
I mean,
because I know
this is a mindset that you and I are very, very similar on.
Yeah, because I know I gotta be in my underwear in fucking 12 weeks, and I don't want to look like a fat fucking slob. So the fear of being a slob is what's driving me to go to the gym every morning.
Yeah.
But some people, like, that don't compete, have just want to look good and just like going to the gym and just want to look good and want to achieve a certain thing. So they don't need fear or like anybody.
Your fear puts you into action. A lot of people's fear paralyzes them. Right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. The way you deal with fear is important. I mean,
so they're like, oh, I'll never be able to, I'm scared of failing, so I'm not going to try.
No, 100%.
Right. Dude, there's that side of things as well.
Some people will walk into a gym and they'll see somebody like Iain and they'll go, oh, fuck this. This is pointless. And they'll start missing the days and they'll start eating whatever the fuck they want. And then another kid will come in the gym and see someone like Iain and they'll go, oh, you know what? I think I want that. And they'll fucking dial it up a notch. And those are the two different types of people we're talking about. Yeah. Some people, you know, if fear cripples.
Honestly, and I there's nothing I like more than seeing a young kid at the gym, like an 18-year-old kid, with the balls to come up and ask me well thought out questions. Yeah. You know, when he'll come up to me at the gym and not just be like, bro, how'd you get like that? Or how much you bench? He comes up to like, hey man, I've been trying this diet, blah, 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 I'm doing this. Do you have any, you know, recommendations? I've been eating this, you know, or I'm trying this training program. Do you have any recommendations? Or, you know, like you look awesome. How long have you been doing this for? Like, do you have any tips? I fucking love that. If you're an 18, like, cause I know when I was 18, I probably wouldn't have the nutsack. Like I remember when I was really young, the first big guy I ever saw that went to my gym was Jamma, was Hassan.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was like, I thought this was Ronnie fucking Coleman when I was 17, 16, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
I never had the balls to go up to Hassan ever and be like, yo, like, how do I get into competing? What do I do? What's, you know? I never, and I didn't even have, like, the questions to ask him. When I see a young kid that's clearly, like, in the gym and I see him every day, he's trying hard, you know, and he comes up and asks me a good question, it makes me so happy on my inside to like feel that. And I just want to be like, man, come train with me every day, you know? Like, I want to help him as much as I can, you know?
Yeah, I'm not, you know what, not necessarily asking the question part. Like, I don't care if people ask me questions, but sometimes, you know, you see the same people kind of in the gym every day. It's the same crowd, depending if you go on the same time, right? There's always like that one kid that's that 18-year-old kid who's not big, but you can tell he's like fucking grinding that shit out every day.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
People think we only respect like big guys, but that's not true. I just respect people who fucking bust their ass.
Yeah.
Like I remember there was a girl that used to train at the last gym I worked out at. She would go in and squat. She would do like 15 sets of fucking squats and she'd be drenched. And I'm like, that's crazy. Like that, I like seeing that kind of shit.
Or like when I see, I mean, nothing makes me happier too. You know, when I'll be at the gym and there's 6 squat racks and there's 18-year-old kids with way more weight than they should be doing. And I'm like, you know, they're doing 3 plates for quarter squats. And then I'll see the one kid that's there with this program on paper with one plate on, doing perfect execution, ass to grass, you know, knees driving out, like flawless form. And I'm like, this guy fucking knows, you know? These kids can sit here, do their 3 plates and think they're strong as shit. And in 5 years, this kid's going to be doing that same weight with 30 times better form with legs twice as big as you, and he'll be fucking being like, well, that's what you get, you know?
Yeah.
That makes me fucking happy to see people just with like mastering execution first and foremost and like not forgetting those fundamentals, you know?
I tell you what not to do. Walk up to me with barely any introduction and be like, this is my progress, bro.
Oh yeah.
I had it last week in Florida in the Redcon gym. I walked in at 5:30 in the morning to do my morning cardio. Like my eyes are pretty, like the Asian eyes are pretty closed anyway, but like 5 in the morning I'm like real puffy.
Yeah.
I'm like dragging ass in my morning and just want to get my cardio. And he's like, oh, hey bro, nice to meet you. Check this out. This is my literally. And I went,
no one cares.
I get so many of these on Instagram where I get people that message me and be like, no introduction, just send me fucking 30 pictures, or they'll be like, go check out my profile and check out my progress. I'm like, why? Or like, rate my physique. I'm like, what good is going to come from this? If I go and say your physique fucking sucks, are you just going to quit? Like what good comes from this? You either know your physique is so good that I'm going to compliment you, so now you're just fucking fishing. Dickhead. Or your physique sucks and I'm not going to want to tell you and just unmotivate you, because that's just pointless at this point. You know, you don't, if you have a top level bodybuilder tell you your physique sucks as a young kid, you're probably just gonna be like, okay, well, I'll never be a bodybuilder. And it's going to be super unmotivating. I know when I was 18 starting, if I messaged Jay Cutler and I'm like, hey, what's my physique like? And he said it sucks. I'd fucking be like, fuck this shit. I'm never working out again. 100%. So I mean, I'm not going to answer that honestly. So it's like, you're either fishing or you don't want the real answer. So like, which one is it, you know?
Those get deleted when I get those.
Yeah. Oh, I don't answer those.
If I get like a string of pictures and a fucking a paragraph like this, fucking, I'm sorry.
And some guy sent me his squat video the other day. His whole set. It was like a 2-minute long video. I'm like,
you know how bad. You know
what
how
am I
bad,
looking at?
You know how bad showing progress pictures is. I won't show my progress pictures to other people.
Yeah.
Like if somebody says to me, "Hey man, how's your diet going? Like, you know, is your prep going okay?" I won't be like, "Oh, 1 minute, man. This is what I look like."
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't. It's the most annoying thing in the fucking world. Like I don't, unless they specifically ask me. Like if they say, you know, you have any photos? Like I want to see what you look like. That's one thing. But just to bust out my phone and be like, "Hey man, check it out." Like,
yeah,
it's not. Yeah, not gonna happen. This guy's trying to start trouble, so I'm just gonna answer a couple things. Fouad, since you brought back your YouTube channel, it seems like you started to dislike RX Muscle and Dave. Not true. I have no problem with Dave or RX Muscle. I think Dave's great. Number 2, he says, what would need to happen for men's physique guy like Andre Ferguson to be on your channel, or Nick Trigilli? Nick Trigilli has his own podcast, doesn't need to be on my channel. And I don't like Andre Ferguson because Dallas McCarver almost punched him out. So Andre Ferguson won't be on my channel either. And to be honest, Andre Ferguson probably doesn't care because he wins every show that he enters. So he can do his own marketing. Okay, on to other stuff. Well, people try and start drama, and instead of having drama, I just give them a fucking answer and we can move on. Were you guys always on point with your diet? Oh, take this as the last one because it's a diet question. I think people like those. Oh, wait, this one's a good one. How do you politely tell people to fuck off when sitting on a piece of equipment for 10 minutes without doing a set? I don't politely say, I just say, get the fuck out. I'll ask them. I'll just be like, when is your set? Like, are you done? Like, I want to get in.
See, this comes to, and I don't know if this is like bullying or not, but this comes down to what I'm saying, the benefits of being big. Because if I go up to someone, when I look like me, or you look like you, or Ben looks like Ben, and you go up to a guy and be like, how many sets you have left? They're always like, 1. You know?
No, that didn't happen to me before.
Really? I barely ever. Like, I'll be like, people, I could tell they just sat down. They probably have fucking 25 sets left. And I'll be like, how many sets? So they're just, just one more. I'll be quick. And then they're literally had just done a set. They'll do their set right away and get off the machine. I'm like, no, man, I wasn't telling you to fuck off. Like, I can work in with you. Like, take 5 minutes. I can go do something else and come back. Just let me know when you're done. Like,
yeah, usually that's the case. But I had one kid, I've told the story before on the podcast. I had one kid be like, I'm doing a powerlifting program, bro. I'm going to be here for 7 or 8 sets. And he was taking, like, honestly, it had to have been minimum, like between 5 and 10 minutes between sets.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the gym's fucking packed, dude. You can't fucking do your 2-plate squats every fucking 8 minutes. Like, so eventually after like 3 sets of me waiting, I was like, look, man, I got to fucking work in. You're either going to let me work in or you got to fucking go somewhere. And I was just a dick about it. I'm like, I'm not sitting here while you like take 60 fucking minutes to do one exercise.
And what'd he say?
Well, he fucking left. He left. He's like, he got pissed off. I think he went and told the owner, and the owner's like, told him to fuck off. Because you can't just hog a whole fucking squat rack.
Especially when it's like peak hours.
When it's peak hours and not let anybody work in. Like, I let people work in if I'm squatting and somebody wants to get in. I'm like, yeah, I don't care. As long as like I don't have to change like all the plates all the time.
Yep.
So
as long as they're lifting less than you, right? If they're lifting more than you, like, oh, fuck off.
Yeah, I don't want to feel bad about myself. I'm like, if you're benching 4 or 5 plates, get the fuck out of here. I'm at the 3 level. Okay, so I think this was the diet question I was going to ask. Were you guys always on point with your diets in the early days of your careers, or were you a bit more relaxed, i.e. missing meals or not the right food? Or were you guys just on point from day one? And if not, how long till you were on point?
I was the other way. I was more OCD when I started, thinking that you had to be like, things had to be absolutely perfect and flawless or it didn't work. And then obviously as I got smarter and did more preps, I realized like things aren't so black and white. And like, not to say I've ever missed meals or cheat on my diet, but like, if it's like one day I'm out of fucking rice and I'll cook potatoes instead, it's like, it's not the fucking end of the world. Or if I'm out of chicken, I got ground turkey. Like I'm always prepared, but I'm saying if that happened, that wouldn't be earth shattering to me. Where back in the day, it would be like,
Okay, well, a minute. We'll go back to this question in a second. I just want to cover something because you just said it. I don't feel like even in prep, I don't feel like there's absolutely any reason why I can't switch like cream of rice for oats or potato for rice. You're not like that crazy, are you? Where you're like, I have.
No, I follow. If Patrick says rice meal, I eat it because why wouldn't I?
No, I know, but if like one day you feel like having a potato instead, we're back to the potatoes, Ben. But if one day you feel like having a potato instead of rice,
No, I literally did this 2 days ago. My 5th meal right now has salmon in it, and it was salmon with potato. And I was just like, man, salmon with some jasmine rice would feel fucking so good right now.
Makes more sense, yeah.
So I did the carb conversion, had the exact same amount of carbs, and I had rice with it instead. Because, you have salmon, the oil's getting the rice, it's fucking delicious.
Yeah.
It just felt like it. That one day, I did the conversion, and I had it. Yeah, no issue. But yeah, no, I don't think you should be switching them out willy-nilly just for fun all the time, but there's no reason they can't be interchanged at all, no.
Me and John allows me, like, it's almost like if it fits your macros, but only with like 8 foods.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if I want to switch out rice for potato, he's like, I don't give a shit as long as the numbers are the same.
Yep.
Or if I want to switch like cream of rice for oatmeal, he's like, I don't give a fuck as long as the numbers are the same.
Yep.
It's nice because it gives me a little bit of freedom in my diet, and I actually don't feel like there's much of a difference.
Yeah.
So, I mean, between rice and potato, what's really like going to happen? You know what I mean? There's nothing. So, okay, I just wanted to cover that. But as far as going back to eating habits, Ben, what were you like in the beginning?
I think I was probably similar to Ian. Once I decided to do a show, I'd freak out if the plan said potato and I'd run out of potato, even though I had rice or oats. I'd be like, no, it's supposed to be potato. So I'll go to the store, buy that. Now I'm like, oh, fuck it. We run out of potato, I'll eat oats. I can. But yeah, I was more locked in.
Well, what about you guys are both describing like diets, because in the first early parts of my career, the first 10 years, I was super like during my diets too. If I had to have rice, it was going to be rice. It wasn't going to be, but I'm talking about overall in general in the off seasons too. What were you guys like in the beginning?
When I started competitive when I was like, right, I'm going to do a show. So now I'm in a actual bodybuilding off season, not just like a random, I'm just eating and training.
Yeah.
I was dialed in. I was 100%. Whatever was on that plan, got eaten.
What about you? Same thing?
Yeah, I'm the same. I didn't really treat, I didn't, at first, like when I was younger, especially, I didn't really understand the importance of off seasons,
Mm-hmm.
I thought that it was like the prep that was all that mattered. Like I was still always like eat my 6 meals a day and blah, blah, blah. But like, I didn't like treat it as 100% seriously as I would prep. I didn't start doing that till I was maybe, in my early 20s,
Yeah. The more podcasts I do, the more I realize I'm a horrible bodybuilder, or I have really advanced genetics, because I fucking never did any of that shit. Like the first 2 years of my career, I think I ate like Chef Boyardee for my carbs and like Hungry Man dinners for my fucking my proteins. Like
my first show I did, I was so OCD with my carb count, I didn't eat any vegetables for the fact that I was doing a keto. I was doing a keto diet, which I did myself. But I did a keto diet and I ate 0 veggies because I was afraid of the carbs.
Wow. Yeah, man. I've always been a 90-10 guy or an 80-20 guy. That's kind of how I've always been. So like 80% is perfect and 20% is kind of like, figure out the rest. That's the way I've always been. The off season, when I'm prepping, is different. Prepping is like 100%. It's 100%. But off seasons have always been a little bit more relaxed. I don't know how you guys
just think how much better than Ben Pekulski could have been.
Well, I remember. You're the only one that thinks that, by the way.
And if you'd have been 100%, I wouldn't think that way.
Melissa just got home. Melissa, take peak Ben Pekulski, and peak Fouad. Who wins?
Fouad.
Hey, see, Ben, you don't know.
Just saying that because he's here right now.
Canadians are polite.
But I honestly was like, I was a big fan of B-Pac's lower body, but I was never like.
I think everybody was.
Atta girl.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's because he's got no arms.
Oh, by the way, Melissa, you have a good podcast.
Thanks.
I'm gonna steal your peach in the pit.
Why we were talking? Why have we been having so much sex lately?
Oh my god.
Do you want to answer that?
I said,
wait, like, am I being honest? Or?
He also told us about like some intimate details about your sex life too.
We have a really good sex life, so that's fine.
Yeah.
I was just saying lately, in like the last like couple months or so, we're on like a fucking like twice a day, once a day, every day.
But
like
you've been also making me feel very like sexy and wanted.
See, that's what's so tough to do. I do that to my wife all the time, and sometimes she's like, "You're making me feel sexy," and then other times I'm doing the same thing, but she doesn't feel sexy, and I'm like, "Why
Well, see, and this is what I said, and then I brought you into saying like that I thought you were in a good place with acceptance with your body and like where you are now, and that you're starting to feel sexier. So like you're starting to feel sexier, plus me making you feel sexy, like that all kind of combines, you know?
Yeah, I'm feeling better about my body, and I feel like we're also like very emotionally connected right now, which is making me like want to do it more.
Can you give guys out there some advice as to how they can have more sex?
I mean, you need to, like, number one, be emotionally connected with your wife or your girlfriend and, like, care about her feelings. But you also, you need to make her feel, like, hot as fuck. And then she'll probably want to fuck. That's just, like...
See, I'm in a bad position. When my wife gets into bed, she's like, what, 7.5, 8 months pregnant? And she's like... and she'll sit in the bed and she'll be like, oh...
I'd be trying to bang Melissa 30 times a day when she was pregnant. That's what they...
She's just sitting there like rubbing her thumb. She's like, I'm super pregnant. She's like, will you rub my feet? I'm like,
oh God.
Rub your feet, and then she takes a nice fart on you.
Yeah. Well, listen, for you guys who are listening out there, check out Melissa and Chris's podcast. What's it called? Paradise on Fire or Fire?
Yeah, Paradise on Fire.
Paradise on Fire. Check that out. It's good. They talk about some interesting stuff. And you guys can make fun of Chris for giving really bad relationship advice too. After
we were ripping on Chris for. We were like, Chris can't give relationship advice because like girls literally just.
Melissa, I could. The funny thing is, I could see Melissa like almost disagreeing with him in some ways, but not because they're on a podcast.
When he was saying like he would go up to girls and like just insult them, be like, "Oh, where'd you get those shorts?" Like, you can't. Most guys can't do that, but like we're saying with Chris can do, and Chris can go up and fucking fart in front of them, and they'll be like, "Hee hee."
Yeah, but Christopher also like speaks like that, or will say like those words to girls, but like the way he says it, it's very obvious that he's hitting on somebody.
I know that, but it's
where it changes the complete dynamic. Is that every single girl Chris is probably going to hit on already knows who he is beforehand, so the dynamics.
Well, it's not only that; it's also what I was trying to get across to Ian when we were talking about it was it's really bad advice because we don't all look like Chris.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't. If you're a fucking 10, you can say and do whatever you want.
Yeah.
If you're a 6, you can't go make fun of some girl and expect her to be like, cool, let's go out on a date. It's like it's like his perception of how to pick up girls is probably like way skewed.
So skewed.
Yeah, but he's also a bit too like cocky when it comes to picking up women.
Well, and he should be because
he sounds.
I would be.
Yeah,
I would be if I was him. I'd be like, I got this. Don't worry.
His success rate is probably like 99%. You know?
I want to know the failures. That's what I want to know. I want to meet the 1% that have said no.
There's probably that one girl you can find her real easy.
I'll be honest. I don't think Chris has ever tried to have sex or pick up a girl that he wasn't successful with.
No, never.
Are you serious?
I think he's probably back 100% on that end. Yeah.
That's fucking ridiculous.
He probably also picks his battles well. Like I think if he knew he had a chance with the girl, that's when he would engage. Like it's like, you know, if it was like a girl that he was like, she's probably, you know.
Okay, wait. I'm gonna ask the question, and I don't think Chris would ever tell me this, so you guys can tell him. And he's probably not gonna watch this fucking shit anyway. So, what I think everybody's dying to know what the number is.
Am I allowed to say? No one knows this.
Just give me like an over under. It's like over under 50. It's got to be over 50.
It's over.
Are we talking like triple digits?
No, it's. I don't even.
No,
it's not in triple digits. No. That's all I'll say. Okay, it's in double digits.
All right, don't worry. He's not gonna watch.
It's definitely you're closer to the.
It's less than what you think.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. We don't want to get him in trouble.
But those are all accumulated in like 2 years of college. Like that's it. You know. We're 2 hours deep into this podcast. You think he'll make it this far? Come on.
He's not. Yeah, I'm gonna put the timestamps. Chris Bumstead stuff.
Make it the title. Chris's number exposed.
My views will go through the roof. It'll be perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. It's been like.
Just hope Courtney never sees this.
It's been 2.5 hours, and I'm starving. I got to train. I'm sure you guys are too. So thank you guys for coming on.
Yeah.
And we'll do it again.
All right.
All right, boys. Take it easy. Bye. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, share with your friends, and like the video. And if you get a chance, check out the description for all the different links to all the different places you can find Hostile and myself. And lastly, check out hostile.com for our new line of supplements and all of our apparel and gear. Thanks again for watching.